Chapter 2277. It was the first time that Tianyun had seen such a perfect giant beast race. He had really integrated the form of a cultivator to the most perfect degree. Its body wasn't big, but it possessed the powerful physique of the giant beast clan. Not only that, but they could also become more proficient in martial arts, which was the most terrifying part. Originally, they could crush cultivators with pure power. Now that they had the explosive power of martial arts, one could imagine how powerful they were. It could be said that they were much more difficult to deal with than the evil spirit race and the green demon race. The green demon race's physique was not that heaven-defying. Although they were disgusting, the situation of the giant beast race was even more disgusting. This made it very difficult for them to deal with. It could even be said that they were crushed. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing had easily blocked his attack when he had fought against it. One could imagine how terrifying it was. Again, Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing naturally would not let him succeed. He quickly pulled out a dark long sword. This was his sword. It had reached the level of a medium-grade Star Venerable and was considered a good treasure. Double Dragon Slash. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing waved the long sword in his hand and slashed forward heavily. The double-headed dragon whizzed out of the long sword. The two huge dragon heads bit towards the gate of death. His target was not the giant beast race, but the gate of death. Whether he had signed an oath with Tianyun or not, he would have done so. The gate of death was too troublesome. Anyone who knew about it would be scared by it. There were so many vengeful spirits inside, including many great star venerables. If there were more vengeful spirits of divine star venerables, it would be terrifying. Therefore, regardless of whether it was a mission or not, divine star venerable Mei Qing had to destroy the gate of death first. With me here, do you think you can destroy the gate of death? Naive. The handsome giant beast took a step forward. The void shattered as he rushed in front of the attack. He opened his hands and grabbed at the void. He grabbed the two dragon heads and pressed them down with all his strength. Boom! The space was distorted. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing's attack was directly smashed by his palm. Correspondingly, he was also knocked back a distance, but it seemed that nothing had happened to him. At most, his body was a little charred. He had used his power alone to blast apart the power of Green Eyebrow God Star Venerable, which was quite terrifying. Tianyun's eyes narrowed. This was definitely not purely relying on its physique. This gigantic beast must have cultivated some kind of physique technique that could greatly increase its physique. That was why it could produce such a shocking effect. The current giant beast had truly reached a heaven-defying level. At the very least, it could easily suppress Mei Qing God Star Venerable by relying on its physique alone. This power isn't bad, but as an opponent, you're still too weak. His original name was Trembling Dragon, and just as his name implied, he could shake any dragon clan. He was also trying to remember that the five-colored Emperor Dragon was their enemy. This power... Mei Qing God Star Venerable's eyes narrowed, but he laughed and said, "Unfortunately, you still lost." Before he finished speaking, a terrifying divine light swept over and pierced through the door of death. This divine light was not inferior to the attack of Mei Qing Celestial Star Venerable. It was even slightly stronger, a divine star venerable powerhouse. Another divine star venerable powerhouse rushed out and blasted directly at the door of death in an extremely sudden manner. His speed was astonishing and sudden. However, Trembling Dragon's speed was even more astonishing. He spun rapidly under his feet and suddenly stomped on the ground. With a dong sound, a large part of the void shattered. He also turned into a beam of light and quickly intercepted the divine light. In the end, he had already blocked the divine light before it blasted into the door of death. Boom! The divine light bloomed, but it was still some distance away from the door of death, so it couldn't be destroyed at all. On the other hand, a large part of Trembling Dragon's body had caved in. It was obvious that he had used his physique to forcibly withstand this move. After the surrounding cultivators saw this, they fiercely sucked in a breath of cold air. This was really too heaven-defying. If they had used their physiques to block it, not even dregs would have been left. Trembling Dragon had used his physique to block it, but he had been able to forcibly withstand it. It didn't seem like there was much of a problem. At most, he would have suffered some minor injuries. The large part that had caved in quickly healed as he breathed. Not only did the giant beast race have a strong physique, but they also had powerful healing abilities. What a cunning cultivator! I didn't expect that he would have another helper. This is unexpected. Trembling Dragon's eyes were cold as he looked forward. A white figure appeared on the side. He looked elegant and graceful. He held a feather fan in his hand and looked over with a serious expression. I didn't expect that he would be blocked like this. Divine Star Venerable Jade Mist's expression was solemn. He had been invited to help by Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing. At first, he didn't want to come, but when Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing said that they would deal with the giant beast race, he chose to take action. Moreover, he had been half believing and half doubting. Now, it seemed that the giant beast race in front of him was quite troublesome. If this continued, the door of death would definitely be fully opened. Let's attack together. Let's see how long he can resist. Divine Star Venerable Jade Mist's eyes turned cold. He waved the feather fan in his hand and attacked downwards. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing didn't say anything else and also attacked. Now that things had come to this, there was nothing more to say. There was only one word: kill. You've come at the right time. Let me see what you can do to me after losing your advantage. Dragon Shocker's eyes were full of killing intent, but more than that, he felt like he had been cleansed of humiliation. Back then, they had been defeated with only their physique. Now that they had combined all their advantages, they wouldn't be defeated. Boom, boom, boom. One beast against two, they launched a frenzied attack in the air. This area was filled with desolation by the three Divine Star Venerables. Mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Tianyun could only force his way in. He killed the beasts along the way and broke through. No matter what, he had power close to that of a Divine Star Venerable. After killing his way in, he aimed at the door of death and slashed down. As long as he hit one of them, the door of death would collapse on its own. However, when the saber slashed down, another figure suddenly flashed over. With a light flick of the hand, the sharp saber light disappeared without a trace. It was a beautiful woman, but Tianyun felt an extreme sense of danger. She was a Divine Star Venerable powerhouse. He hadn't expected that there would be a Divine Star Venerable beast lurking on the side. You're quite interesting. You managed to kill your way through so many great Star Venerable beasts, but this is the end. The woman reached out to grab Tianyun. Her hand wasn't big, but it was like an inescapable net. It locked down all of Tianyun's escape routes. He didn't even have a chance to escape. Retreat. Chapter 2278. Tianyun quickly retreated, but his speed still couldn't match the woman's. The woman's speed is also extremely amazing, rushing towards Tianyun at an extremely fast speed. She caught up to Tianyun almost instantly and reached out to grab him. Trying to escape? The beautiful woman didn't even smile. She looked very frightening. The giant beast race was originally a giant beast, so they didn't usually smile. Even if they turned into cultivators, they didn't like to smile. Their expressions even looked a little stiff. Tianyun's eyes narrowed. Just as he was about to use the teleportation divine stone to escape, a sharp light suddenly pierced through and cut off the woman's power, trapping Tianyun. At the same time, it rushed over and blocked the woman. If you want to kill him, ask me first. Another cold light quickly rushed over and flicked the woman away. Another beautiful woman appeared in front of Tianyun. This beautiful woman was called Jean Elan, and she was also a Divine Star Venerable. Of course, she was also a helper that Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing had found. For such an important matter, she would definitely find a few more Divine Star Venerables. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing's relationship with her was average. She was purely looking for her to ask if the giant beast race had appeared and if she wanted to deal with them together. Jean Elan didn't agree immediately. Instead, she thought for a while before deciding to follow. She didn't expect the giant beast race to really appear. Jean Elan was originally observing from the side, figuring out where to sneak an attack on the death's door. Coincidentally, Yi Tianyun's attack was blocked by the giant beast race's Divine Star Venerable, so she could only act quickly. If she didn't deal with this woman, she wouldn't be able to destroy the death's door. Leave her to me. You go destroy the death's door. Jean Elan said coldly. Yi Tianyun nodded and didn't say anything. He quickly shuttled to the side and went to destroy the death's door. The beautiful woman raised her eyebrows and quickly turned to intercept Yi Tianyun. Jean Elan quickly intercepted her and said coldly, "What are you trying to do? If you want to go, deal with me first." Jean Elan's eyes were cold. They were both women. She wanted to see if the women of the giant beast race were stronger or weaker than her. Then let's fight. The beautiful woman didn't waste any more time with her and immediately started fighting with her. Yi Tianyun quickly moved to the side, feeling somewhat shocked. No wonder he did not know where the true headquarters were even after capturing the Grand Star Venerate level beasts. Above them, there were still the two Divine Star Venerables. Only they had absolute authority over information. Most importantly, only a small portion of the giant beasts knew of their existence. They usually wouldn't appear. Yi Tianyun did not think too much about it. He once again charged towards the Death's Gate. If he did not succeed this time, the Death's Gate might really open. Now it was just a little bit away from being opened. At that time, it would be too late even if he wanted to destroy it. He could only forcefully close it. Just as he was about to rush to the door of death, another figure rushed over, directly smashing towards Yi Tianyun, shattering the space. Yi Tianyun felt a sense of impending doom coming from above, which made him shocked. He quickly dodged. Before the attack landed, he had already used the teleportation Divine Stone to escape to another area, perfectly dodging the attack. After the attack missed, it smashed into the ground. With a boom, a huge crater appeared within a radius of 1,000 miles. A huge fist imprint appeared on the ground just like that. There's more. Yi Tianyun's gaze froze in the distance. An extremely strong man appeared in front of him. His muscles bulged, containing explosive power. This was another Divine Star Venerate. He had not expected the giant beast race to also have 3 Divine Star Venerates. What was the point of fighting like that? Even 1 against 2, they were not at a disadvantage. In a one-on-one situation, Jean Elan was clearly at a disadvantage. As for the strong man in front of her, who could deal with him? Hey, you can still dodge my attack. Looks like the treasures on you aren't bad. Ba Hao was a little surprised. His lock-on attack had actually been ineffective. The other party had still escaped. I didn't expect you to have so many Divine Star Venerates. Why didn't you all come out at the beginning? Do you all like to hide? Yi Tianyun looked at Ba Hao, then swept his gaze around to see if there were any other Divine Star Venerates who had not come out. I'm just learning from you cultivators. I hide. This way, I can catch them off guard, and the effect will be better. Ba Hao smiled, not at all anxious. In any case, their goal was to open the door of death. After opening the door of death, there would naturally be things to deal with cultivators, saving them some effort. Everyone's expressions turned ugly. With so many Divine Star Venerates here, how could they deal with them? Unless they found another Divine Star Venerate. But this was Wild Dragon Planet, not Scarlet Moon Planet. If this was Scarlet Moon Planet, there would definitely be other Divine Star Venerates coming out. After all, when sensing the situation outside, some old fellows in seclusion would choose to come out. Facing the giant beast race, they could only choose to come out. They couldn't only choose to come out after seeing their home destroyed, right? Now that they were on Wild Dragon Planet, things were different. This wasn't a good environment. Even divine star venerates wouldn't cultivate here. Hence, no matter how much trouble they caused here, they wouldn't be able to sense it. Mei Qing's divine star venerate abilities were limited. The only ones who knew were 2 divine star venerates. After notifying them, they immediately rushed over. This meant that as long as they knew about the giant beast race, they would basically make a move. Unfortunately, they didn't know where the divine star venerates were in seclusion, so they couldn't help even if they wanted to. The people below had bitter expressions. Was there really no one who could stop this door of death? This was indeed the case. No one could stop it. This time, there was no miracle, no powerful divine star venerate helpers. If this news spread to Scarlet Moon Planet, there would definitely be divine star venerates rushing over to help. Unfortunately, it was too late. The door of death finally took shape. The huge door of death was really like the mouth of an abyss leading to hell. When a huge door opened, countless vengeful spirits were released. A dense black mass rushed out in all directions, like a flock of crows flying out. Everyone's faces turned pale. They had basically never seen the door of death before, but they had heard that when the door of death opened, it was the time of death. A large number of vengeful spirits rushed out. Their cultivation levels varied. Because it was difficult to deal with, it was even more difficult to deal with when there was a shocking number of them. It's over, this time. Their faces were pale. If they couldn't close the door, they would probably die here. Ha ha ha, enjoy it. Chapter 2279. The opening of the Gate of Death basically announced the success of the enormous beast scheme. They had not expected that they would succeed in carrying out their plan and open the Gate of Death. After opening the Gate of Death, a large number of enormous beasts started to retreat. However, the great star venerables who had opened the Gate of Death all exploded and died. After opening the Gate of Death, it seemed like their life force disappeared. This was the price of opening the Gate of Death, and it was quite tragic. It's over. It's over. The enormous beasts don't even need to do anything. We're done for. I didn't expect to die here after coming to Desolate Dragon Planet. I'm most afraid of being possessed by those resentful souls. Even my corpse won't be able to rest in peace. How does the Gate of Death close? Will it always be open? I read the records. The Gate of Death won't always be open, but it will be open for a long time. By the time it closes, this place will have turned into hell. They did not know how long it would be. Even if it was open for a month, they would still be doomed. This could be seen from the current situation of the Gate of Death. Hundreds of resentful souls would come out in a breath of time. Who knew how many would come out in a month? The number was not important. What was important was that there were a lot of powerful resentful souls. If they came out in a frenzy, it would be enough to exhaust them to death. The resentful souls of the Great Star Venerables were especially numerous. These resentful souls of the Great Star Venerables could not compare to the living Great Star Venerables. However, in terms of numbers, they could sweep everything. There were many living Great Star Venerables, but there were even more dead Great Star Venerables. This was why everyone's expressions changed when they heard that the Gate of Death had opened. This was too horrifying. It was simply a nightmare. Normally, seeing the resentful souls of their friends or relatives would make them happy. However, these resentful souls had come to possess them, so there was nothing to be happy about. Most importantly, there were too many resentful souls. It would be difficult to find their relatives. The area inside the Gate of Death was vast. The space opened was just a small area. They might not be able to find the resentful souls of their relatives. Only the Death Clan could accurately find the location of the vengeful spirit. While everyone was in despair, Yi Tianyun's gaze turned cold. He shouted, "Come, seal it!" At this time, 2 figures quickly flew from the side and came to Yi Tianyun's side. They immediately released a black energy that surged forward and shrouded the door of death. Close it. These two people were none other than the Death Clan's patriarch and princess. They were the two existences that could open the gate of death and close it together. Others might not be able to close it, but they could close it together. Of the gate of death. On the surface of their bodies, they were constantly releasing black energy rings so that the vengeful spirits wouldn't attack them. Only then could they safely close the door of death. Soon, the gate of gate started to close. When the cultivators saw this, they cheered. They had thought that they had lost all hope. They did not expect that the Death Clan would appear to help them close the door. As long as the door was closed, the battle might not be over. At the very least, there would not be a one-sided suppression. Death Clan, I knew you were hiding. Ba Hao and the others appeared on the side. They had retreated, but that didn't mean they would leave Planet Desolate Dragon immediately. Instead, they hid on the side and formed a powerful barrier to protect them. They wanted to see the entire Planet Desolate Dragon filled with resentful souls. Only then would they choose to leave. They would be fools if they thought they could leave immediately after opening the gate. They were worried that the Death Clan would appear. That was why they had been guarding the side. Now that the Death Clan had appeared, they weren't surprised. The Death Clan had been rescued, so they must be hiding somewhere. They had opened the gate of death not only to kill this group of experts, but also to force the Death Clan out. Now that they had forced the Death Clan out, they had appeared again. Divine Star Venerables weren't easy to deal with. There were 3 Divine Star Venerables on Mei Qing's side. After the fight just now, all of them wore solemn expressions. They were extremely shocked by the power of the giant beasts. It could be said that they would be hard to deal with in a one-on-one fight. They might even be suppressed. What was more frightening was that the other party's martial arts weren't very smooth. They would need to familiarize themselves with it for a long time before they could execute it perfectly. However, they could still suppress them under such conditions. It was enough to show how frightening the giant beasts that could use martial arts were. If they continued to practice, they would be even more heaven-defying. In other words, if they had the star aspect, they would be even more frightening. They would be practically invincible. Fortunately, they could only use martial arts. If they could really use the star aspect, it would be terrifying. Who would be able to beat them then? Unless one's cultivation greatly exceeded his opponent's, they would be crushed if they were at the same level. The 3 of them could only block 2 people at most. How could they block the remaining one? If they couldn't block all of them, the Death Clan wouldn't be able to close the gate of death. Tianyun alone wouldn't be able to block them. The difference in cultivation was too great. There was no way to deal with them. Even if they used all kinds of powers, they were still a long way off. Don't even think about it. Divine Star venerates Mei Qing and the others gathered and stood in front of the Death Clan. You were beaten so badly by us before that you couldn't even speak, and you still dare to block us? Ba Hao and the others sneered. It was already difficult to deal with them one-on-two, let alone one-on-one. Everyone's expressions were grim. At this level of cultivation, the great star venerates below them couldn't do anything at all. There were a lot of them. Putting aside the vengeful spirits, it was impossible for them to fight a divine star venerate as a group. Unless this group of great star venerates gathered together and formed a whole body, they could only gather their power and form an attack to deal with a divine star venerate. However, it was too difficult. Most of them weren't familiar with each other, so it was especially difficult to control this formation. Which one of you has Star God Herb? Tianyun transmitted his voice to the 3 divine star venerates. This was all he needed now. As long as he had this Star God Herb, he could break through to the divine star venerate level. Once he broke through to the divine star venerate level, these giant beast races divine star venerates would definitely be crushed by him. Star God Herb? The 3 of them were stunned. Jean Elon hesitated for a moment before saying, I have it. Do you want to use it to break through to the divine star venerate level? Chapter 2280. Eteonyun had only asked casually. Generally speaking, divine star venerables were very rich. They might really have such treasures. They might have found them for their own breakthroughs and kept the extras after they succeeded. At the same time, they might have prepared them for their disciples. I can give you the star god herb, but what can you give me in exchange for it? Jean-Elon did not give him the star god herb directly. She was still bargaining. Even in such a dangerous situation, she still chose to bargain. Even if the desolate dragon planet was destroyed, it would have nothing to do with her. She just did not like the giant beast. After all, his star god herb was extremely precious. Many star venerables wanted it. It would be a great loss if she gave it away so casually. What do you want in exchange? Eteonyun asked immediately. It's very simple. I need 5-star venerable level treasures. The star god herb was originally for my disciples. If you need it urgently, I can give it to you. However, whether you can break through or not has nothing to do with me. Finding these 2 divine herbs did not mean he would definitely succeed. There were also many failures. Otherwise, there would not be so few divine star venerables. There were many grand star venerables, but there were only a few divine star venerables. 5-star venerable level treasures? No problem. Eteonyun answered readily. He had thought he wanted something else, but it turned out to be star venerable level treasures. He was in control of the purple gold divine pavilion and had hundreds of star venerable level treasures. 5-star venerable level treasures was not a problem at all. Jean-Elon was shocked. She had thought Eteonyun would bargain for a while. She had not expected him to be so straightforward. They would not even be able to find so many star venerable level treasures. Okay. Since you're so straightforward, I'll give it to you first. Jean-Elon flicked the star god herb to him. If you die, I don't need you to pay me back. I wish you success. Jean-Elon was not afraid that Eteonyun would go back on his word. If he broke through to the divine star venerable level, he would get 5-star venerable level treasures. If he failed, he would have to return 5-star venerable level treasures. But if he died, he would not have to return anything. Jean-Elon didn't directly let Eteonyun hand over the treasures first. Instead, she gave them to Eteonyun first, which was very humane. Although it didn't seem easy to propose a price at such a critical juncture, there wasn't much of a difference between discussing it first and then giving the star god grass. Thank you. After receiving the star god grass, Eteonyun quickly took out the other broken Zune flower. The 2 conditions had been fulfilled. Help me stop them. No problem. Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable and the others quickly unleashed their strongest powers. Although they couldn't kill them, they could stop them for a while. No matter what, it was 3 against 3. Faced with the humiliation from before, they had to unleash their full strength and suppress their opponents for a period of time, so that Eteonyun would have more time to break through. However, they were still worried. Regardless of whether they succeeded or failed, even if they succeeded, Eteonyun had only improved the star Dharma Laksana to the 5th level. This meant that Eteonyun still had to continue breaking through to become a real divine star venerable. There was a big gap between them, which meant that he would need to break through twice. No matter which time it was extremely difficult. Regardless, they could only resist. After all, even if Eteonyun hadn't broken through, they would have rushed to resist so that the Death Clan could continue to close the gate. Eteonyun was just doing this in passing, and it didn't conflict with the original plan. This time, let's see who will suppress who. Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable snorted. He had been suppressed by Eteonyun for too long, and now he completely unleashed it. The power of the star Dharma Laksana of the double-headed dragon was completely released. The other 2 also unleashed their powerful star Dharma Laksana, and they exerted their invincible power to suppress the giant beast. But they didn't change their expressions, and they attacked directly. Boom! They attacked each other crazily. For a moment it was hard to tell who would come out on top, and the situation became white-hot. The giant beasts were still suppressed when they went all out. They couldn't deal with them as easily as before. Interesting. Let's see how long you can last. Ba Hao and the others sneered and continued to attack the giant beast. As for Yi Tianyun, who was breaking through, they didn't care about him at all. All they cared about was the Death Clan. Moreover, they didn't even need to attack. The other major star venerate giant beasts rushed toward the Death Clan. Their target had changed to killing the Death Clan. The other Grand Star Venerables would definitely not let them have their way. They all went up to stop the giant beast. Only the resentful spirits, regardless of race, went to bite them. For a moment the three forces were mixed together, and it was very chaotic. Jing Xian and the others below all looked at Yi Tianyun in surprise. They hadn't expected Yi Tianyun to choose to break through at this time. However, how could he break through here? This place was very chaotic. If he broke through, he would definitely be disturbed. Of course, Yi Tianyun wasn't that stupid. He raised his hand. Suddenly, the ground next to him rumbled. The purple gold divinity pavilion appeared again. Great! The purple gold divinity pavilion appeared again. Those with low cultivation can hide inside temporarily. Yi Tianyun shouted. When everyone saw the purple gold divinity pavilion, their eyes lit up. They didn't know why the purple gold divinity pavilion had appeared again. No matter what, the appearance of the purple gold divinity pavilion gave them a huge fortress to hide in. They wouldn't have to fight with them in this spacious area. Mei Qing Divine Star Venerate was speechless. The purple gold divinity pavilion was Yi Tianyun's to begin with. He could come out whenever he wanted. Yi Tianyun had summoned it not only to hide inside but also to give those with low cultivation a better place to hide. However, most of the major star venerates couldn't hide inside. It wasn't that they didn't want to hide, but if they hid inside, who would protect the Death Clan? The Death Clan couldn't hide inside the purple gold divinity pavilion to close the Death's Gate. They had to do it outside. Entering the purple gold divinity pavilion was equivalent to being isolated. Even though Yi Tianyun was the master, he couldn't do that. After all, the purple gold divinity pavilion was sealed. There were so many powerful star patterns. How could they control the Death's Gate? If they could control it, he would have let the Death Clan in long ago. He wouldn't have foolishly let them control it from outside and become their target. You must hold on. Please. Yi Tianyun quickly rushed into the purple gold divinity pavilion after saying that. Chapter 2281. After entering the purple gold divine pavilion, Yi Tianyun found a safe area and quickly stuffed the two divine medicines into his mouth and began to absorb them frantically. He was racing against time. If he was any slower, he would really be done for. Mei Qing Divine Star Venerate definitely couldn't deal with them. He could only temporarily unleash a powerful burst of power to suppress the giant beast race. Unless the giant beast race was careless, nothing would happen to them. With their powerful physiques, they could definitely withstand all the attacks. When Mei Qing Divine Star Venerate and the others were exhausted, what awaited them was failure. Therefore, he had to quickly break through and reach the Divine Star Venerate level. At that time, he wouldn't dare say that he could absolutely crush the giant beast race, but at least the difference in strength wouldn't be so great. When the two divine medicines entered his mouth, an explosive energy exploded in his body. Yi Tianyun's body immediately swelled up, as if he was being inflated. No wonder he could fail. If he didn't guide such terrifying energy properly, it would cause an explosion. Not only would he fail to break through, but he would also be seriously injured. If he wanted to break through, the price he had to pay was not low. If he wasn't careful, he could die right away. What surging energy! Suppress it! Yi Tianyun frantically mobilized the energy in his body and guided it to his limbs. Following that, a surge of energy shot up into the sky. The seven-colored emperor dragon above him began to dance, its figure gradually extending towards the eighth color. It was like using paint, smearing it up bit by bit. However, the speed was rather slow. These two divine medicines were like paint, smearing the seven-colored Emperor Dragon bit by bit. Originally, these two divine medicines existed to upgrade the Star Dharma powers. After gathering enough energy, they would start to upgrade the Star Dharma powers. If the upgrade failed, then the previous results would naturally disappear. If the upgrade was successful, then there wouldn't be any major problems. If he succeeded, he would advance to a higher level of the Star Dharma powers. However, this process was extremely difficult. He needed to constantly guide and release the energy. Only when the Star Dharma powers had completely advanced would it be considered over. There couldn't be even the slightest failure along the way, so the conditions were extremely harsh. At that moment, Tianyun felt like he was about to explode. His body was filled with all kinds of energy, and he had to slowly guide it out to upgrade the Star Dharma powers. It was like a person whose stomach was about to explode from eating too much and still had to exercise. And the exercise was not easy. It was the kind of exercise that could cause one's stomach to explode. Tianyun's face was expressionless as he continued to guide the energy upward, continuing to strengthen his unique Star Dharma idol until it was completely formed. While Tianyun was working hard, he was also in a tough battle outside. Be it the giant beasts or the cultivators, they were all caught up in a tough battle. Especially with all sorts of vengeful spirits causing trouble, the giant beasts weren't having an easy time. If the vengeful spirits only targeted cultivators, that would be the end of the world. Now that both parties were attacked, it was considered fair. The fight between Mei Qingshun and Venerable Star Venerables had reached the climax. The sky and the ground in front of them were collapsing, and the void was broken. If anyone below the Star Venerable level approached them, they would be completely destroyed. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing and the others were fighting against the giant beasts. They hadn't been on good terms before, but now they were like brothers, helping each other. They hadn't been on good terms before, but facing so many powerful opponents, they had to work together. They hadn't been willing to do that, but facing so many powerful opponents, they had no choice but to work together. If they didn't work together, they would only die faster. Eminent, how could this be? Chu Hedong and the others cursed. They had come to the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion to get treasures, but they had been besieged as soon as they came out. This is a crisis. No wonder I felt so threatened earlier. Jing Xian was also fighting against the giant beasts and the divine spirit. Fortunately, she was strong enough to move around easily. At the same time, she looked up and murmured, "I wonder if they can hold on?" When Jing Xian and the others thought they could hold on, the Grand Star Venerables on the side suddenly collapsed. A group of giant beasts charged toward the Death Clan. "Oh no, they broke through!" Chu Hedong and the others shouted. They wanted to go help quickly. If the Death Clan was defeated, they wouldn't have the chance to close the Death Gate. When countless divine spirits came out, it would be their time to die. However, they found they couldn't leave at all when they wanted to go save people. They were also fighting against a group of giant beasts, and there were a lot of them. They didn't know where these giant beasts were hiding. As soon as they came out, they saw a group of giant beasts charging toward them crazily, which scared them. Under such circumstances, they couldn't help them at all. Seeing that the Death Clan was about to be attacked, a large number of powerhouses suddenly rushed over from the side. Like madmen, they rushed over and fought with the group of giant beasts. They had powerful fighting prowess and shocking fighting method. They were all Grand Star Venerables. Most importantly, they didn't seem to be afraid of death. They were even crazier than the giant beasts. The giant beasts weren't afraid of death, so they were even less so. "If you want to come over, you'll have to go through us first." A beautiful figure appeared in front of everyone. They saw Shi Shiyun charging over with a large group of powerhouses. The first group that charged over was actually the puppets Tianyun had made. Before coming to the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion, Yi Tianyun had made many puppets like crazy. He knew they would have to face many giant beasts, so he made as many as he could. Shi Shuyun's side was even more well-trained. Among them, the formation eyes were Grand Star Venerables, while the rest of the Star Venerables gathered together to form a large formation. When they gathered together, they turned into a giant that attacked the giant beasts charging at it. It was like an invincible powerhouse, and none of the giant beasts could get close to it. This was the strongest joint formation. It gathered thousands of powerhouses and formed a large formation. In the end, it took the form of a giant that could sweep away thousands of enemies. Such a giant's power instantly reached the peak Grand Star Venerables level. It was even close to becoming a half-step Divine Star Venerable. This was the powerful effect brought about by cohesiveness. Their cultivations weren't strong, but when they gathered together, their fighting prowess could sweep away everything. Chapter 2282. Chu Hedong and the others were dumbfounded. They had never seen such a cohesive force before. This was called the Giant Formation. It allowed tens of thousands of cultivators to gather into one and take the form of a giant. The advantage was obvious. When they gathered together, they could form an extremely powerful giant with shocking battle prowess. This was especially true when the cultivators' cultivations weren't high. After they gathered together, they would accumulate, and their power would naturally increase. It could be said that these giants were much stronger than them. If they fought them head-on, they would definitely lose. This was the advantage of the giant formation. It was a very powerful formation. Its disadvantage was also obvious. It required close cooperation. Without tacit cooperation, it was easy to fail in mastering astral power. With so many cultivators gathered together, if they wanted to use this formation, the astral power output by each cultivator had to be especially balanced. Any excess would be unacceptable. Any excess could easily destroy the balance. By then, they would be done for and the formation would be destroyed. If something went wrong, they might all suffer. They might even be seriously injured before facing the enemy. Therefore, the giant formation had its advantages, but it also had a great disadvantage. If those with average cultivations wanted to turn the tables, they could only use the giant formation. They were all Star Lords and Star Venerables, yet they could reach the power of a half-step Divine Star Venerable. How could this advantage not be shocking? The problem was that it was difficult to cooperate. This was the reason why few of them used it. However, there were more than 10 giants in front of them. They could send the giant beasts flying with great proficiency and protect the Death Clan. This meant that their degree of cooperation was quite terrifying. Such a terrifying cohesiveness shocked the great clans. Which clan could cultivate such an astonishing cohesiveness? At least, they couldn't. Even if they could, they would have to pay a huge price. It wasn't worth it at all. It would be better to cultivate some talented ones so that they could break through to the late Grand Star Venerable level, or even the Divine Star Venerable level. That woman is so stunning. Jing Xian was surprised when she saw Shi Shuyun, who was giving commands on the side. Shi Shuyun's cultivation was not high. She was only in the late Star Venerable level, but she could command all the giants, making it easy for them to deal with the enemy. She found it incredible that she could control the overall situation so well. Such a demeanor made her feel inferior. The others looked at Shi Shuyun in shock. How could there be such a woman? In such a big scene, he was not afraid at all. His cultivation was obviously not very strong, but he could control everything. This was the power of Yi Tianyun. After training for so long, they had finally achieved something. Perhaps they had started out relatively late and their cultivation was relatively low, but their cohesiveness was extremely strong. This was the best proof. After condensing, the power of all the great families became extremely dim. The most frightening thing was that there were so many giants in the formation. How exactly did they train to be able to train such a coordinated team? None of the families present had ever seen this power before. If they had, they would definitely have an impression of it. To be able to train so many cohesive cultivators, the family must not be simple. However, no matter how they looked, they could not see any familiar faces. They were all unfamiliar faces that they had never seen before. He had never seen the beautiful woman in the lead before. He should have met a woman with such control. She was just like Jing Xin. Such a capable woman would definitely spread throughout Crimson Moon Planet. However, they had never seen her before, which made them feel very shocked. The sudden addition of a power left them dumbfounded. They searched their minds again and again for which power it was. While they were thinking and fighting, Shi Shuiyun had already led a powerful team to constantly bombard the giant beasts around them. For a moment, neither the giant beasts nor the vengeful spirits could approach the Death Clan. These giants even formed a circle, forming another formation, firmly guarding this place. As long as they were not facing a divine star venerable, they could easily resist. When this scene fell into the eyes of Ba Hao and the others, their faces became more and more gloomy and terrifying. They did not expect the other party to have such a trump card, which shocked them greatly. According to this situation, the Death Clan would not be disturbed, and they would definitely be able to close the Gate of Death. Once the Gate of Death closed, their plan would be in vain. They did not know how much effort and time they had spent preparing for this plan. If they were to open it again, they would have to prepare for a period of time again to be able to do this. However, they could not wait that long. Most importantly, this was a rare opportunity. They originally wanted to use this opportunity of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion to eliminate the many powerhouses of Crimson Moon Planet. When the time came, it would be very easy to occupy Crimson Moon Planet. If they lost this opportunity, it would not be so easy to deal with the next time. The price they would have to pay would be even greater. "You damned cultivators, break for me!" Ba Hao and the others roared angrily. Their combat power sword, wanting to repel their opponents. "Don't even think about it!" Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable and the others also unleashed their power to resist them. The more desperate their opponents were, the more anxious they were. Otherwise, why would they be so desperate? This situation was actually a good thing for them. For a moment, the battle in this area quickly reached a white-hot stage. The Gate of Death gradually began to close, and fewer vengeful spirits appeared. If this continued, it would definitely be closed. When they thought everything was going so smoothly, suddenly, a huge space-time door was ruthlessly torn open in the void. Following that, a large number of giant beasts charged out of the space-time door in an extremely crazy manner. "I've finally broken through it." A handsome man rushed out of the space-time door, his face filled with a carefree smile. After coming out, when he saw them, he laughed loudly. "I'm not late this time, am I?" "You're not late. Hurry up and destroy them." When Ba Hao and the others saw this person, they were delighted. Finally, reinforcements had arrived. If Yi Tianyun were here, he would immediately recognize who this person was. It was the giant divine beast that he had dealt with in the giant divine beast domain. He did not expect the giant divine beast to recover and break through to the divine star venerable realm, break through the shackles there, and successfully arrive at the desolate dragon planet. Now, the giant beast clan had 4 divine star venerable powerhouses, while their side had no divine star venerable powerhouses. Chapter 2283. Another divine star venerable had appeared. They didn't know that this was Yi Tianyun's old rival from before. Last time, he had ruthlessly ruined the giant divine beast's plan. They just didn't expect him to recover so quickly and even improve his cultivation. It could only be said that he had some special method that allowed him to break through in one go. Looking at his cultivation, it was obvious that he had just broken through to the divine star venerable level not long ago. He couldn't help but break through the void and come over here. As powerful as a divine star venerable, he could easily tear through space and open up a huge space-time door. This was something all divine star venerables could do, but generally speaking, they wouldn't do so. Not to mention that the cost wasn't low. What was the main point of opening up space for? When Shi Shuyun saw this divine star venerable, her expression became solemn. It wouldn't be that easy to deal with him. With a divine star venerable cultivation, she wondered if the giant formation on their side could resist for a while. This kind of broken formation, watch me break it! The giant god's eyes were full of disdain. He stepped on the void and turned into a beam of cold light as he charged over. His small body seemed to have turned into an incomparably huge ferocious beast as he pressed down from the sky. Stop him! Shi Shuyun quickly commanded all the giants to come over and resist. They nimbly controlled the giants and rushed over with loud thumping sounds. They quickly formed a huge formation, giant shield. The 5 giant formation gathered all their energy together and turned into an incomparably huge shield that was placed horizontally in front of them. Boom! The giant divine beast collided with the incomparably huge shield, causing a huge explosion. A power that could destroy heaven and earth wreaked havoc in all directions. The void collapsed one after another. With the giant divine beast as the center, a large area behind him collapsed from the shock of his own power. A gully tens of thousands of miles was continuously blasted out, as if the ground had been split in half. Boom! In the end, the giant divine beast was repelled, and the 5 giants also took a few steps back. A few cracks appeared on the hard energy shield, but it didn't shatter. This shield could reflect any attack. Now, even the power of a divine star venerable was reflected. It could be seen that the giant formation gathered by the 5 giants could still withstand the power of a divine star venerable. The rest of the giants could still fend off some of the demonic beasts, but it was a little more taxing. After all, this colossal god-beast had even opened up the space of the colossal beast domain. Hordes of colossal beasts began to surge out. Regardless of whether they were transformed or not, all of them were charging toward Lin Fan. For a time, it was quite difficult to deal with them, but they could still hold on for a while. What worried them the most was the giant divine beast. We blocked it. When they saw this scene, they were incomparably shocked. If it were them, they would have long been scattered, or even seriously injured. That was an attack from a divine star venerable, not a great star venerable. Under such circumstances, the formation of so many giants was still blocked, and it was quite perfect. They had a whole new view of this giant formation. Normally, a large clan would have many star venerates and star venerates. This was especially so for the star venerates. For those with low talent, they would only be given some ordinary tasks to help the family. For example, he didn't bring it to the violet gold divine pavilion at all. They would only drag him down, so they didn't bring him along. Now, this giant formation showed them another way of fighting. At first, they had been disdainful of it. They thought it was not worth it, and the price they had to pay was not low. But now, the power it had erupted with really amazed them. After all, even if so many elders joined hands, they might not be able to block an attack from a divine star venerable, but they had done it. When there were enough of them, it was quite shocking when they gathered together. They might not be able to defeat a divine star venerable, but they could at least block a few moves. At least they were better than them, who couldn't even block it. If we survive this time, we must go back and train the disciples of this level well. They were all thinking of a plan. The effect was too shocking. Every clan had many star venerates and star venerate. If they gathered together, not to mention 10 giants, they could even gather dozens of giants. However, they were too optimistic. Shi Shuyun had put in a lot of effort. Since it was called one of the most difficult formations, it couldn't have been so easy to train. They had hidden for so long just for this moment. They had been suppressed for so long that they couldn't show off. Now they wanted to burn themselves up. Very good. Keep blocking. Shi Shuyun's beautiful eyes lit up. She was very excited. She felt that she could definitely help this time, instead of hiding behind. So what if he was a divine star venerable? So what if his cultivation couldn't keep up? He could still do things that other big clans couldn't. Damn, it's so hard. The giant divine beast sighed, was enraged and felt extremely humiliated. He hadn't expected it to be so hard. He had thought he could shatter the shield in one breath, but he had been too naive. Such a terrifying cohesiveness couldn't be broken so easily. I don't believe you can block many attacks. The giant divine beast charged at them again, and his power rose again. Mang God charge! The giant divine beast trampled the ground crazily. With every step, a huge pit was formed. He turned into a huge meteorite and charged at them again. The power this time was much stronger than before, mainly because the power of the martial arts he used had obviously increased. They're here. Strengthen the effect. Go. Immediately, 2 more giants flew over and joined the previous 5 giants, forming a 7-man giant shield again. In an instant, a huge shield was formed, protecting all of them inside. Boom! A deafening sound spread in all directions. The giant divine beast was sent flying again. The ground behind him that had already collapsed became even more terrifying, as if there were a few deep scars on the ground. On the other hand, the giant shield was densely packed with cracks like a dense spider web, but it still didn't break. The shields of the 7 giants were able to withstand this terrifying power, creating another miracle. They didn't defeat their opponents, but blocking them was a kind of victory. Very good. Shiyun's white clothes fluttered in the wind. Her eyes were cold as she said, "Before Tianyun comes back, we'll defend everything." Okay. The giants roared loudly, their voices extremely loud, expressing the feeling of oppression in their hearts. Perhaps this was the feeling of being recognized. They were finally rewarded. Chapter 2284. Damn it! I can't even break it? The giant divine beast was furious and felt extremely humiliated. He was a divine star venerable, but he couldn't break this garbage? Immediately after, he launched another frenzied attack, bombarding forward again and again. The giants blocked again and again. Every time the shield looked like it was going to break, it just didn't. But as they resisted, their faces became paler and paler, and they consumed more and more energy. Even if they blocked the attacks, the consumption was still too terrifying. The attack of a divine star venerable was not so easy to resist. Sigh, they're about to be defeated. Once these giants are defeated, they're done for. Yes, this is the end. Their hearts were desolate. They wanted to help, but there was nothing they could do. Moreover, it was quite good that they could resist the giant beasts and ghosts around them, let alone help. Their contribution was also not bad, at least they helped to resist a lot of giant beasts and ghosts. Haha, it's about to break. The giant divine beast's eyes were full of cold light. Let's see if you can continue to resist. After a series of ferocious smashes, the shield was finally ready to be smashed into pieces. After the shield was broken, the giant divine beast would be smashed into a meat patty. Great array rise. Shiyun suddenly waved her hand. At this time, a huge light array appeared in the area below the shield, and it soared into the sky. It directly enveloped the giant divine beast and turned into a solid cage, trapping him. The huge light array, layer by layer, covered the giant divine beast, and it could be said that it was crazy. It was like putting another layer on the outside of a cage, layer by layer, and it reached an incredible degree of stability. What's going on? The giant divine beast was stunned, and he looked down. He didn't know when, but there was a huge light array below. Looking carefully, he found that the divine spirit race was madly arranging the array. You want to stop me with just a broken array? Break. The giant divine beast slammed the cage, and with a boom sound the cage shook, but it didn't break, not even a crack. The heavy blow was enough to destroy heaven and earth, but this cage couldn't be destroyed. It was really shocking. This was the Heavenly Clouds Empire's Divine Spirit Clan, led by Yi Qingxian. After Shi Shiyun, Yi Qingxian was Yi Tianyun's most trusted person. She led the Divine Spirit Clan's team, and after their awakening, their abilities were greatly enhanced. After this period of training, he had improved greatly. Now, they could even set up level 2 star rune arrays. Although level 2 star patterns were inconspicuous, there was a kind of collective array that was quite amazing. That was the seal suppression formation. This sounded domineering, and in fact, it was indeed domineering. The difficulty was about the same as the giant formation. The difference was that one had to set up many grade 2 great formations and then link them together. The more formations there were, the more powerful they would be. Of course, a second-grade grand formation wasn't the limit. He could continue to set up third-grade grand formations, and the highest he could set up was a fifth-grade grand formation. At that time, let alone a divine star venerable, even a heavenly star venerable would probably be sealed to death. Most importantly, the core of the array was not a normal star rune array core, but a person. With a person as the eye of the formation, and hundreds and thousands of people working together to cast it, the power was extremely terrifying. This was the best proof. After they joined forces to unleash the God Suppression Array, the giant God Beast was trapped inside. This is yet another God sealing formation, which is as difficult as the giant formation. It requires the cooperation of all the star inscriptionists in order to achieve such a feat. This force is too heaven-defying. This is something that requires mutual telepathy and telepathy. They actually managed to do it. These are all extremely difficult formations, completely the type that is arduous and unrewarding, yet they actually dared to use them. Previously, the giant array had already shocked them. Now, they were even more shocked when they saw a giant array of the same level. A grand formation like the seal suppression formation could be found anywhere on the street, and one would be able to find the cultivation method for it. However, no one really wanted to cultivate it. It was so difficult. If they had the heart to cultivate, they might as well cultivate and break through. When they saw its true power, it really refreshed their understanding. Dong dong dong! The gigantic divine beast smashed the cage in a frenzy. After smashing for a while, a crack finally appeared on the cage. However, it was only a small crack. If he wanted to break it, he still needed to smash for a period of time. However, before he could smash it open, light swords appeared in the god sealing formation and shot towards the gigantic divine beast. Each light sword wanted to pierce through him. However, the gigantic divine beast was too tough. They could only leave shallow marks on his body. However, the gigantic divine beast still felt some pain. Most importantly, it was humiliation. He didn't expect that not only could he not break the other party's defense, but he was also trapped in the cage. This was clearly a trap. First, the giant array only defended and didn't attack. At the same time, another formation was set up below the giant array. Everything was concealed by the giant array. He didn't even notice that someone was setting up a formation below. Under such circumstances, he originally thought that he could break the giant array. Who knew that he would be trapped in another formation? Damn it all! The gigantic divine beast was about to go crazy. He was actually trapped again. This was a great humiliation. What an idiot! What are you doing? Bahao roared. If this went on, the door of death would be closed. Ah, break it! The gigantic divine beast continued to rage. He smashed madly, and the cage cracked bit by bit. The defense of the god sealing formation was amazing. However, it was still difficult to trap a divine star venerable. Every heavy blow was like smashing on the chest of the divine spirit clan, causing their faces to turn pale. However, they stubbornly held on. At this moment, they could defend as much as they could. Everyone who came to participate in the battle wanted to repay Yi Tianyun for nurturing them all this time. They didn't want to be a burden. Very good, continue to trap him. Sure, Shuyun's eyes were cold. Everything was within her expectations. After the giant array didn't need to protect the gigantic divine beast, it continued to protect the Death Clan. This made the other side heave a sigh of relief. Just when they thought it was over, they still persisted. It had to be said that they were shocked again. Humph! On the Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable's side, someone was sent flying. Let me help you! Ba Hao defeated his opponent and came over to help. This time, even if 2 Divine Star Venerables came, could they still resist? When Ba Hao's fist smashed toward the Death Clan, several domineering shadows suddenly rushed out of the void and collided with Ba Hao. Boom! After Ba Hao was bounced back for a distance, he looked coldly in front of him and found that it was the 5-colored divine race and the heavenly tiger tribe. They all used their totem power to resist Ba Hao's attack. They could also gather the power of the entire tribe to resist the Divine Star Venerable. One tribe couldn't deal with it, but if several tribes worked together, they could resist it. The Heavenly Clouds Empire's power gradually emerged. Chapter 2285. The Heavenly Clouds Empire's forces were revealed step by step, and they stood out in this battle. Wave after wave of power emerged. Perhaps their cultivations were not top-notch, but the power that erupted when they gathered together could even resist a Divine Star Venerable. It was already shocking that the 2 great arrays could withstand it, and now there was another wave? Just how many trump cards did this force have up their sleeves? This is incredible. They were stunned, and words couldn't express the shock in their hearts. Factions had appeared one after another, and they were even able to resist Divine Star Venerables. It was truly inconceivable. Just what kind of faction could achieve such a shocking degree? When Ba Hao was blocked, he was also furious. He didn't expect that even he would be blocked. The giant god beast on the side was blocked. After all, the giant god beast had just broken through to the Divine Star Venerable realm, and there was still a big gap in all aspects. He had been promoted for a long time, but he was still blocked, which made him very angry. I don't believe that you can still resist, Ba Hao roared. This time, he didn't attack the Death Clan, but the Heavenly Tiger tribe. If he wanted to destroy the Death Clan, he must first destroy the Heavenly Tiger tribe. Otherwise, he would still be blocked. Moreover, if he wanted to vent the anger in his heart, he had to destroy the Heavenly Tiger tribe first. Kill. The people of the Heavenly Tiger tribe were not afraid. Without hesitation, they gathered their totemic power and charged towards Ba Hao. Boom. The Heavenly Tiger tribe's totem was shattered one after another, and a large group of people were blasted upside down, vomiting blood and suffering serious injuries. Ba Hao was also blasted out, but his situation was much better than the Heavenly Tiger tribe. His face was red, and it seemed like he was slightly injured. Let's see what tricks you have this time. Ba Hao exhaled. The other party was directly defeated by him in one move. Now, how many cultivators could resist his attack? Kill. This time, it was the giant array that came to resist. They really didn't have too many trump cards this time. Basically, they played all their trump cards, and they were already proud to be able to resist the attack of 2 Divine Star Venerables. If it were any other great family, how could they do this? What they paid attention to was the standard of an individual elite. Rather than nurturing everyone, it was better to only nurture one. Their way of thinking wasn't wrong. It was just that the one they were nurturing wasn't at a heaven-defying level. There wasn't even a single Divine Star Venerable, so what was the point? As a result, the strong were very strong and the weak were very weak. The Heavenly Clouds Empire was the Heavenly Clouds' ancestral land. However, this side was different. By nurturing all of the people and working together, they would be able to achieve unimaginable results. They knew where their problem lay. Even if they did their best to nurture them, they wouldn't be able to produce a Divine Star Venerable right away. Therefore, if he took the resources to nurture Great Star Venerables or Divine Star Venerables and spread them around, he would be able to nurture a large group of experts with decent cultivation. Their cultivations might not be heaven-defying, but they could at least train many Star Lords or Star Venerables. This was the reason why they could gather together and form a giant formation. You're still using this move? Do you think I'm that guy? Ba Hao's eyes were filled with disdain as he charged toward them. The 7 giants raised their shields in front of them. Just like before, they wanted to block Ba Hao's attack. Break for me! Ba Hao waved his fist and slammed it on the huge shield. The sky changed color, the earth shook, and the mountains shook. The stars above were covered by his power. Then, an incomparably huge fist punched through the thick void and slammed heavily on the shield. Dong! The shield made a loud noise, and in the next second, the huge shield shattered into countless pieces with a bang. Puff! The 7 giants were sent flying and directly disintegrated in mid-air. Most of the cultivators were seriously injured and fell from mid-air. There were many casualties. This was war, extremely cruel, and it was impossible for there to be no casualties. Especially this kind of giant formation. Once it was broken, there would be a chain reaction. Basically, not many cultivators could escape the damage. Therefore, either no one was injured, or all of them were injured. Some of the more serious ones directly exploded into a blood mist, leaving nothing behind. Bastard! Shi Shuyun's eyes were red. Many of her loyal subordinates had disappeared from this world, which made her feel extremely painful. But this was war. Besides them, the other great clans had also suffered numerous casualties. Not to mention Star Venerables, even Grand Star Venerables had started to die. It could be said that the other great clans' losses were no less than theirs. However, in terms of the number of casualties, their losses were definitely not as great as theirs. But in terms of resources, they must have spent more. However, for Shi Shuyun, talents were more important, not resources. Then, Shi Shuyun quickly waved her hand and adjusted her mentality. She commanded, "Quick, seize the opportunity now." At this moment, a giant spear flew out of the void and pierced toward Ba Hao. It was not a spear, but an indestructible spear formed by the power of a large group of people. Many familiar faces, such as Xiaowu, Mingyu, and others, were gathered there. They did not have any special abilities, but they had extremely firm hearts. After they gathered together, they formed a long spear made of will and power, which pierced through the void and shot over. Boom! The sudden attack hit Ba Hao. Everything had been prepared for this moment. They knew that the giants would not be able to resist Ba Hao's attack. But the giants could only choose to resist. Everything had been prepared for this moment. Ba Hao was blown away by the attack and fell straight to the ground. With a loud noise, a deafening explosion spread in all directions. The space was distorted, as if the world would be destroyed at any moment. After the explosion, Ba Hao lay paralyzed on the ground, his body blown to pieces. He was not dead, but he had seriously injured Ba Hao. It was an extremely powerful trump card. The strongest elite soldiers of the entire heavenly cloud ancestral land were gathered there. Their unparalleled will and power combined together, instantly reaching the power of a divine star venerable. The key was that all of their power was gathered at one point, which made their power even more terrifying. Even gods would not be able to resist this attack. However, this was only effective in a sneak attack. If it was a head-on attack, the speed would be a bit too slow. They had taken advantage of this gap to hit Ba Hao. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. A divine star venerable had been injured? More importantly, the divine star venerable of the giant beast clan, with an unparalleled physique, had been seriously injured. If it were any other divine star venerable, wouldn't they be dead? This battle was destined to make the heavenly cloud ancestral land famous across the 2 stars. Chapter 2286. Ba Hao was seriously injured. This scene shocked everyone once again. Who would have thought that so many weak cultivators could gather together to form such a powerful force? This was really beyond their imagination. They had never seen such a scene before, and now it was fully presented in front of them. Bah how! The other two divine star venerates were shocked. They had not expected their companion to fail. This immediately caused their morale to plummet, and they were frantically suppressed by the other two divine star venerates. Bah how, who was lying in the huge pit, did not die. He climbed up with great difficulty. His powerful physical body began to rapidly recover at a speed visible to the naked eye. This move was very powerful, but his vitality was even more tenacious. I really did not expect you to have such a move, Bah how panted. His eyes were bloodshot, and a shocking killing intent soared into the sky. He stared at the spear above and said coldly, I want you all dead. He quickly stomped on the ground and rushed towards the spear. Even if his physical body had not fully recovered, he would still meet it head-on. The rage in his heart made him unable to care about anything else. Shi Shuyun also gave the order for his counterattack at the same time. Before Bah how could attack, the spear had already struck down again. Take advantage of his weakness to kill him. Before Bah how could attack, the spear had already struck down fiercely. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion erupted once again below. The huge pit, which was already shocking enough, now became even deeper and larger. What people were most concerned about was the real result. Who had won? Immediately after, the spear was forcefully pushed back for millions of miles before it barely stopped. The overall structure was not destroyed, but the situation was not very good. Using this move had consumed a shocking amount of energy. The second move was obviously not as powerful as it had been. Fortunately, it did not break into pieces like the giant. At least there were no casualties, which was enough. Bah how was once again sent flying, but it was not as tragic as before. It seemed that there was not much of a problem. His physical body was still healing rapidly. His combat power had been reduced, or the spear would definitely have shattered. Pretty hard? This time, I'll completely destroy you. Bah how stepped forward frantically. His body quickly healed, and soon he looked no different from usual. Even so, his condition was definitely not completely recovered. However, in terms of battle prowess, he had already recovered by more than half. Under such circumstances, if the spear were to receive another punch, it would definitely shatter. At that time, the price he would have to pay would be even more tragic than the giant. Such a condensed spear was not some grand formation, but the product of the combination of willpower and strength. If it was shattered, it would be equivalent to the complete collapse of the willpower. As a result, it would affect one's soul, and in serious cases, one would become an idiot. Even if one survived, it would be useless. Go! Shi Shuyun gritted her teeth. She had no other choice. Not only her, but all the cultivators in the spear also had no other choice. However, their gazes were incomparably resolute. Protecting their homeland was their goal. In order for their descendants to survive, they had to pay the price. Even if they could foresee the outcome of this collision, they would not be able to stop. If he stopped, the result would be a world of difference from when he bumped into it. If they could hold on for a while longer, the Death Clan would be able to close the gate. Or, they could give Tianyun more time to break through. There were too many variables. Once they stopped, the Death Clan behind them would be destroyed. Then, the Death Clan would continue to open, and the entire desolate dragon star would be destroyed. There would be no hope. Kill! A deafening sound soared into the sky. They were already prepared to face the attack. Every single one of them recalled the scenes of their lives. They were already very lucky to be able to make it this far. Without Tianyun, they would not even have had the chance to be here. They would have perished in ignorance. They would not even have had the chance to resist. After all, if they did not come up, the giant beast clan would attack. At that time, they would not even have the chance to appear on the battlefield. They would have died in the lower worlds. Just as they were about to go up, a figure suddenly appeared in front of them. They were all dumbstruck. "You have worked hard. You have performed well. Let me handle the rest." A familiar voice spread in all directions. When they saw the person's back, their eyes turned red. "Not at all. It's all thanks to Sir's training that we can stand on this battlefield." They choked. Even when they were facing strong enemies, they had never lost their composure like this. However, when they were facing Yi Tianyun, they lost their composure. It wasn't just them. Even Shi Shiyun and the others had tears in their eyes. Everything they had done was finally paid off. "That's right. Your efforts will not go to waste." Yi Tianyun turned to look at them and solemnly said, "Today you will be famous everywhere, let everyone remember you." Of course, that's not the key. The key is that you did it. You did what so many strong forces couldn't. "Yeah, we did it." They were all excited. Even though there were casualties, they were more excited than anything else. They had created a miracle. Everyone had a different opinion of them. When the forces saw Yi Tianyun talking to them, they were shocked. They did not expect that these forces were all created by Yi Tianyun. "You talk too much nonsense. Go to hell. Even if you come out, you will only become dust here like them." Ba Hao was already in front of them. He did not give them any time to talk. "Get lost." Yi Tianyun waved his hand, and a wave of fluctuation came from the void. The terrifying star power turned into a huge palm, and it slammed down on Ba Hao, who was rushing towards Yi Tianyun, and Ba Hao turned into a pile of blood mist in mid-air. What was left was a bloody mess of flesh that fell from mid-air and finally smashed into the ground, causing an explosion. A divine star venerable giant beast had been blown up with a single slap? Divine star venerable. He broke through to the divine star venerable level? The familiar aura made them feel that Yi Tianyun's cultivation had really reached the divine star venerable level. They did not expect Yi Tianyun to be a divine star venerable after hiding in the purple gold divine pavilion for a period of time. No wonder he said to leave it to him. He was already heaven-defying before becoming a divine star venerable. Who could stop him after becoming a divine star venerable? Chapter 2287. Yi Tianyun had successfully broken through to the divine star venerable level. After successfully raising the level of his star aspect, he immediately started to raise his cultivation level. Raising his cultivation level was very smooth. Because he had killed enough great star venerable beasts, he had obtained a lot of star energy. Especially since he had destroyed the Zhu family, the star energy he had obtained was quite shocking. Under such circumstances, raising his cultivation level to the divine star venerable level was no longer a problem. It could even be said that it was relatively easy. It could be said that he had successfully broken through to the divine star venerable level in one go. After breaking through, he immediately charged out. He was both angry and helpless in the purple gold divine pavilion. However, he could only continue to break through inside. There was no other way. No matter how angry he was, there was no point in coming out. As long as his cultivation level did not break through, the deaths of his subordinates would be meaningless. Therefore, he was not only proud of his subordinates' abilities, but he was also extremely sad. However, he was even more gratified. To be able to explode with such shocking power, apart from his faction, which other faction could do this? Blocking the attacks of divine star venerables one after another was enough to make Yi Tianyun proud. This was the faction he had nurtured. They could do things that others could not. Finally, after successfully breaking through, he immediately charged out and killed Ba Hao at the same time. Even though Ba Hao had been injured, he was still a divine star venerable, which was far from what a great star venerable could compare to. However, he had been killed in one move by Yi Tianyun. Ba Hao had now become a pile of mud. He fell to the ground, motionless. He looked very miserable. It seemed like he was not dead, but he had already lost the ability to fight. Tianyun quickly descended from the sky and grabbed Ba Hao's remaining pile of flesh. In fact, it contained his soul. It's a pity that Super Soul Search doesn't have enough star energy to level up for now. Otherwise, I would really want to search your memories. But don't worry, you still have 2 companions left. Tianyun exerted a little force in his hand, and a domineering power started to press down. Ba Hao's body started to rapidly collapse. You can't defeat the giant beast race. Ba Hao was still unwilling to admit defeat. Don't worry, you'll see more and more companions coming down. Tianyun didn't waste time with him. He crushed Ba Hao's body, including his soul. He had finished off a divine star venerable. Ding! You have successfully killed Ba Hao. Reward: 5 billion star energy and 2,000 kill points. Ba Hao's hand, Ba Hao's soul, and bloodthirsty spawn. As expected of a divine star sovereign's star energy value. It's truly shocking. Tianyun's eyes lit up. That much star energy would be enough for him to upgrade his Super Soul Search ability. When that time came, he would be able to easily scour a bunch of memories. His figure flickered, and he appeared in front of the giant divine beast. Now it was time to clean up the other divine star venerable beast, especially the trapped divine beast. The giant divine beast had yet to break out of its cage. It had to be said that the divine spirit race's ability was very shocking. They had trapped the giant divine beast so tightly that it was basically impossible for it to escape. Not to mention that it wouldn't be able to escape in the future, at least for a short period of time. Long time no see. I didn't expect you to successfully break through to the divine star venerable realm. I thought you wouldn't be able to break through again. When Tianyun saw the giant divine beast, he realized that it was indeed an old acquaintance. It's you! The giant divine beast's eyes were filled with killing intent. It fiercely punched the sturdy cage, causing it to crack a little. However, it still couldn't escape. That's right, it's me. Tianyun looked at it indifferently. Next, it's your turn. I almost died at your hands when I sparred with you before. But now it's my turn to deal with you. You! The giant divine beast sneered. Ba Hao was seriously injured. Otherwise, do you think you could handle him? If I wasn't trapped in the cage, you would definitely be dead. Oh, alright then. I want to see what abilities you have. Tianyun waved his hand at Yi Qingxian and used her to remove the cage. Yi Qingxian didn't hesitate. She nodded at him and quickly removed the cage. As soon as the cage was removed, the giant divine beast launched a sneak attack on Tianyun. He had been waiting for this opportunity. He wanted to provoke Tianyun so that he could remove the cage and kill his way out. He hadn't expected that Tianyun would really take the bait. He secretly cursed Tianyun for being an idiot. What an idiot! Die! The giant divine beast swung his fist and charged over. He gathered all of his strength. The explosive power was slightly weaker than Ba Hao's, but his overall strength was still at the divine star venerable realm. Boom! Tianyun raised his hand and received the giant divine beast's fist head-on. A terrifying power poured out from behind Tianyun. With him as the front, a large area behind him instantly collapsed. It was enough to show that the power of this punch was quite shocking. However, Tianyun was completely fine. He grabbed the giant divine beast's fist tightly and looked at the other party's shocked gaze. This is your power? You. The giant divine beast thought that his punch could seriously injure Tianyun, who knew that he would be seriously injured and receive his most overbearing punch. There's no need for you. Tianyun exerted force and crushed the giant divine beast's fist. Then, he quickly reached out, grabbed the giant divine beast's head, and lifted it up. Search my soul. He had already upgraded the Super Soul Search. He could search the cultivation of all divine star venerables. He couldn't miss out on real information. After searching his memory, he found that the giant divine beast's memory was also limited. He didn't even know where the headquarters of the giant divine beast race was. It wasn't that his status was too low, but that he had been sealed in the giant divine beast domain. It was only a long time ago, when he received help from the evil spirit race, that he started to evolve. During this period, they also communicated with their companions. However, if they wanted to leave that place, they could only destroy the formation from the inside. Therefore, the giant divine beast didn't know much about the situation outside. You have no value at all. Die. Tianyun squeezed hard. The giant divine beast didn't even get to say his last words before he died completely. In a short period of time, he killed another divine star venerable. This was as simple as drinking water. The others were dumbfounded, followed by explosive cheers. Chapter 2288. Two of the giant beast race's divine star venerates had been killed by Tianyun. He had killed them easily, as if it was as easy as drinking water. When the remaining two divine star venerate giant beasts saw the situation, their hearts sank. They had greatly underestimated this cultivator's ability. He hadn't been very eye-catching before, so they hadn't paid much attention to him. Who knew that he would break through to the divine star venerate level in such a short time? Breaking through to the divine star venerate level wasn't a problem. Mei Qing and the others had broken through for so long, yet they were still suppressed by them. Even if Tianyun broke through to the divine star venerate level, what kind of power could a newly advanced divine star venerate have? A lot of his power hadn't been converted and adapted yet. The power he could exert was at most slightly stronger than a great star venerate. If he wanted to completely mobilize the power of a divine star venerate, he would need some time to adapt and familiarize himself with it. Who knew that Tianyun didn't even need to adapt? It was as if he had broken through to the divine star venerate level a long time ago. He could grasp all the power in an instant, and the power he exerted was even more shocking. The next second, Tianyun quickly flew to support Mei Qing and the others. He instantly charged to Mei Qing's side and said coldly, "Leave it to me." Mei Qing nodded. He had also reached his limit. If this continued, he definitely wouldn't be able to hold on. Immediately, Tianyun's gaze shifted to the handsome man. This giant beast race cultivator was still very powerful. It could be said that he was the most powerful among all of them. However, no matter how powerful he was only an early-stage divine star venerate. We underestimated you this time. I really didn't expect you to improve like this. Batron stared at Tianyun and said in a deep voice, "You're the strongest cultivator I've seen. Is that so?" "That's my honor," Tianyun said calmly. "However, your plan ends here. It's time to end this." "Wait a minute." Batron didn't attack immediately. Instead, he looked at him and said temptingly, "You have great power, and you can use it. Don't you want to rule this area and become the absolute overlord of this area? I believe you know that if you want to improve your cultivation, you will need an astonishing amount of resources. As long as you rule this area, you will have all the resources you want. Join forces with us. When the time comes, your cultivation won't just be at the divine star venerable realm, but an even higher realm." Batlon began to tempt them. He felt that Tianyun had the strength to join forces with them. At the same time, he did not want to fight with Tianyun. "You've injured so many of my men. What's the point of saying that?" Tianyun said calmly. "Their cultivation is so weak, it doesn't matter if they die. Survival of the fittest, this has always been the truth." Batlon said in a deep voice, "Don't worry about these things, it's meaningless." "So, this is the difference between me and trash like you." Tianyun stomped on the ground, his eyes filled with killing intent. The giant beast race followed the principle of survival of the fittest. Not to mention the other races, even the giant beast race within their own race would end with the survival of the fittest. Unfortunately, Tianyun could not agree with this concept. Boom! Eteonyun instantly arrived in front of Batlon and swung his fist. Batlon's eyes narrowed, and at the same time, he also swung his fist to counterattack. The two fists collided. Boom! Batlon was like a huge meteorite, falling from the sky and finally exploding on the ground. Just like Bahao, he was killed in one move. After the explosion, Batlon lay on the ground, his body turned into a pile of meat paste, looking very tragic. In front of Eteonyun, a divine star venerable's cultivation was like trash. Most importantly, he had not even used any star aspect. He had killed Batlon in an instant by relying solely on his own strength. Cough, cough, cough. Batlon recovered his physical body with difficulty. He looked at Eteonyun with eyes full of anger. Looks like you're not willing to cooperate with us. Since that's the case, then go to hell. Under his gloomy gaze, a black fog suddenly appeared around him, and soon, a group of giant beasts appeared in front of him. They were dressed in black, and as soon as they appeared, they immediately used their black energy to wrap around Eteonyun. Most importantly, a door of death had appeared, enveloping him from the side. This door of death was not big, just enough to accommodate a few people. They wanted to stuff Eteonyun into the door of death. As long as he was stuffed into the door of death, everything would be over. There were so many vengeful spirits inside, and even a divine star venerable would probably die inside. Eteonyun was very powerful, but he did not have the ability to open the door of death, which meant that once he was locked inside, he would only be waiting for death. I didn't expect there to be a backup door of death. You guys have a backup plan, but that's all there is to it. A terrifying power was released from Eteonyun's body, and a phantom appeared. With just a wave, the giant beasts surrounding him were shaken into a bloody fog, and the black energy that trapped him was completely useless. As soon as these giant beasts died, the door of death quickly closed up. When everyone saw this, apart from being shocked, they also heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Eteonyun was not sucked in. If he was really sucked in, wouldn't it be the end? However, if Eteonyun was sucked in, he would not die inside. After all, he had the super teleportation divine stone, so he could easily escape without any pressure. Then, his gaze shifted to Batlon, and he quickly flew to his side. He lifted Batlon up and said calmly, "I wonder what other moves you have this time?" In the face of absolute power, all schemes and tricks were meaningless. "You're really powerful." Batlon laughed loudly, but there was no despair in his eyes. "Do you think everything is over just like that? I know it won't be over so easily, so I want to take a look." Eteonyun sneered and grabbed Batlon's head. All the memories quickly surged out and poured into his head. "So it was this plan. Your giant beast clan is really powerful. You even have this kind of hidden method." Eteonyun looked at the shocked Batlon. He did not expect Eteonyun to have this kind of ability. He was a divine star venerable. No matter how weak he was, it was impossible for his soul to be searched. Who knew that he would not have a chance to struggle at all, and his memories would be completely extracted. How can you do this?" Batron's previously indifferent expression turned into one of extreme fear. All his plans had been exposed, so how could he remain calm? "There's no why. You guys are just too stupid." Eteonyun sneered and crushed Batlon's head, completely ending his life. Chapter 2289. Batron was killed, and another large amount of star energy poured in. However, Eteonyun was not excited at all. He knew a lot of insider information from Batron's memories. He had searched through the memories of so many beasts, and he had finally found something valuable. This beast was very valuable, and it was also very well hidden. After learning about it, not only was he not happy, but his face was also terrifyingly gloomy. He turned around and went to Jean-Elon's side, ready to help her kill the last divine star venerable. As long as he killed this divine star venerable, the giant beasts would basically be finished. There would be no chance for them to fight back. It's over. Tianyun didn't do it this time. Gather? Bad and lazy? Regret? Jingxue? And I? Yuan Yen resisting the temple's blasphemy? Fengyun blowing down the model? Bookworm waving the heart and bad and lazy? Fu Shu? In the end, this Divine Star Venerable was also killed by him. All the Divine Star Venerables were killed by him. He had done something that other Divine Star Venerables could not do. This kind of power was really above other Divine Star Venerables. Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable wiped his cold sweat. He had not expected Tianyun to be so nature-defying. After breaking through to Divine Star Venerable, the power he erupted with far surpassed theirs. Fortunately, he had made an oath with Tianyun, or he would have been the one dead. Even if he had escaped, he would have died if he had not signed the oath with Tianyun. How could he dare fight against such a powerful Divine Star Venerable? It could only be said that the Zhu family was really blind to have provoked such a nature-defying existence. Divine Star Venerable Elon, thank you for your Ascension Flower. Without it, I would not have been able to break through to the Divine Star Venerable level. Tianyun waved his hand, and 5-star Venerable level treasures flew out and landed in Jean Elon's hands. Now that he had broken through, he had to fulfill his promise. This business is really worth it. I wonder if you can help me out in the future? Jean Elon sized up Tianyun with her beautiful eyes, feeling a little shocked. She did not expect Tianyun to be so powerful after his breakthrough. She had thought that he would not be of much help, at most helping to fend off the giant beasts. Now, it seemed that it had far exceeded her imagination. He was much more powerful than a veteran Divine Star Venerable like her. That's not a problem. Tianyun smiled. He was very grateful that they could support him at this time. Then, he flew to Shuyun's side and hugged her slender waist. He said gently, "It's been hard on you. You're very good at commanding. No wonder you're my wife." As they chatted, a terrifying force spread out in all directions, shattering the giant beasts and vengeful spirits around them. At this moment, the Death's Gate was more or less done closing. It had to be said that it took quite a long time for the Death's Gate to close. The main reason was that the range of the Death's Gate was too large, so the time it took to close was relatively longer. But now there was no need to worry. After it was closed, there was basically no difficulty to speak of. The remaining giant beasts were basically useless. If they did not have a strong cultivation, they could only be slaughtered. It could be said that after the death of a Divine Star Venerable, victory could basically be declared. However, Tianyun's actions were even more eye-catching. They did not expect this beautiful woman to be Tianyun's woman. This made everyone marvel. As expected of a powerhouse of a generation, it was normal for him to have such a capable wife. Sigh, a Divine Star Venerable. He broke through just like that, and he's so strong. Even if the Zhu family has a Divine Star Venerable, they probably wouldn't dare to oppose him, right? Chu Hetong and the others sighed, their eyes filled with fear. This time, they felt that it was the right choice not to go against Tianyun. If they went against Tianyun, then even the Chu family would be pried up. He's really outstanding. Jing Xian stared at the woman in Tianyun's arms, jealousy appearing in her beautiful eyes for the first time. She realized that Tianyun was very much in line with her standards as a cultivation companion. It was just that the person in his arms wasn't her, but another woman. All along, it had been others who were jealous of her. This time, it was her turn to be jealous. So many people are watching. Shuyun was a little embarrassed. So many people were looking at them, making her a little shy. What are you afraid of? You're so capable. Are you afraid of others gossiping? Tianyun hugged her slender waist and said in a deep voice, "Everything is finally over, but it's also a beginning." He said something inexplicable, making Shuyun fall silent. After the Death's Gate was closed, everything became a lot easier. All the giant beasts had been wiped out. After all, this was their territory, and the giant beasts did not have as many people as they did. After a round of cleaning, all the giant beasts were finally wiped out. However, no one was happy. All the losses were too heavy. Every family had lost a lot. Be it experts or other disciples, many had died. Less than half of the disciples they had brought with them were left. Basically, all the families were in the same situation. Some families were even worse off. Looking at the corpses on the ground, everyone felt a little miserable. They had won, but they didn't feel excited at all. Everything was fine. Even if they were fighting for treasures, there wouldn't be such a tragic battle. But now it was different. Many of the companions they had brought with them had died. The atmosphere in this area was very depressed and gloomy. They started to pack up the corpses of their companions and brought them back for a proper burial. It wasn't just these big families. Even the Tianyun ancestral land was in sorrow. They had also suffered heavy losses. This was the worst they had suffered so far. This was the cruelest war. Death was a very common thing, and there was no way to change it. If they wanted to change the situation, unless they had a heaven-defying expert who could suppress the other party from the beginning, there would be a lot of casualties. While they were packing up, Tianyun suddenly said in the sky, "Everyone, I know you are in pain, but there is one thing I want to explain to you. The giant beasts have already started to attack Scarlet Moon Planet. We don't have time to feel pain anymore. We must hurry back to Scarlet Moon Planet." Tianyun's words were like a sudden clap of thunder that exploded in their ears, shocking them. They have already attacked Scarlet Moon Planet? They couldn't believe it. Scarlet Moon Planet had a divine star venerable hiding. How could they be so bold? Yes, they have already attacked Scarlet Moon Planet. They should be in a chaotic battle now. There is no point in being sad now. We can either hide on Desolate Dragon Planet or kill our way back to Scarlet Moon Planet to fight them. Tianyun said in a deep voice. This was what he knew from Batlin's memories. Chapter 2290. At first, Tianyun thought that they would wipe out the cultivators here first before heading to planet Scarlet Moon to fight and rule over the entire planet. Who knew that the giant beast race would attack on both sides, swallowing both sides in one go? Even if they failed here, planet Scarlet Moon would probably be swallowed. When they returned and found out that everything was over, it would be meaningless. There was only one reason why they dared to do this. The giant beast race was well prepared and very powerful. From Batron's memories, one could sense how powerful they were. They had sent 8 divine star venerables. Including the 4 here, there were a total of 12. A total of 11 divine star venerables. That really scared him. He hadn't expected the giant beast race to have so many powerhouses. Who would dare say that they had declined? At least here, they hadn't declined. Batron and the others had sent 4 divine star venerables, which meant that they thought very highly of planet Desolate Dragon. Under normal circumstances, planet Desolate Dragon didn't even have a single divine star venerate. Sending 4 divine star venerables would have been a sure win. Who knew that a moment of carelessness would cause them to lose everything? Not only were there many divine star venerables here, but there were also powerful forces from the Skycloud ancestral land. In the end, Tianyun had successfully broken through to the divine star venerate level. He was above everything. But now that planet Desolate Dragon's crisis had been resolved, it was planet Scarlet Moon's turn. According to the plan, the battle had already begun. If he teleported there, he would definitely see chaos and a sky full of giant beasts crazily attacking planet Scarlet Moon. Compared to the giant beast race sent to deal with planet Desolate Dragon, they were much stronger in both numbers and cultivation. This was what he was worried about. He was determined to win. They still have the energy to deal with planet Scarlet Moon? Also, I didn't receive any distress messages. Chu Hedong found this unbelievable. First of all, he hadn't received any distress messages. This made him a little puzzled. Since they came out, they must have come prepared. If the Chu family had been attacked, they would definitely have notified them and asked them to quickly go and rescue them. From the beginning until now, they hadn't received any distress messages, which made them very puzzled. I found this from the giant beast's memories. That's their plan. I'm not very clear about the actual situation. As for the rescue information, is there a problem with a divine star venerable blocking it? Tianyun looked at them and said in a deep voice, "Of course, I'm not asking you to believe anything. I'm just reminding you. Either we continue to stay here or we go back. Once you return, you probably won't be able to escape. You can only face the giant beast race head-on. Therefore, everything depends on your own choices. Whether you believe me or not is up to you." Tianyun's words were very straightforward. He was giving them a reminder on account of their collective fight against the giant beast. Heavenly Cloud Divine Star Venerate, do you know how many experts there are over there? Chu Hedong and the others pondered for a moment before deciding to ask about it. There was no need for a divine star venerable to lie, so they chose to believe him. According to the memories obtained by that divine star venerable, there are at least 8 divine star venerables and many other great star venerables. The total number was at least several times more than what they had sent to attack Desolate Dragon Star. It can be said that the number is quite shocking. If we were not careful, we would have been completely annihilated, Tianyun said honestly. 8 divine star venerables? They were extremely shocked. There were actually 8 divine star venerables. Just how were they raised? Or rather, where did he come from? How could he possess such terrifying battle prowess? That's right, there are 8 divine star venerables. If Scarlet Moon Planet had many divine star venerables, then they wouldn't be so scary. Tianyun looked at Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing to ask about his situation. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing frowned and said, "As far as I know, there are no more than 5 Divine Star Venerables left on Scarlet Moon Planet. As for the others that are hidden deeper, I'm not sure, but there should be more. After all, most of the Divine Star Venerables have chosen to leave Scarlet Moon Planet. If they continue to stay on Scarlet Moon Planet, there will be no progress in breaking through." Scarlet Moon Planet was a delicious steamed bun in the eyes of many, but for Divine Star Venerables, resources were quite limited, so they had to leave Scarlet Moon Planet. The colossal beast race occupied Scarlet Moon Planet purely to occupy a decent planet and then spread out. This was their goal. If they stayed on Scarlet Moon Planet, they wouldn't be able to stay for too long. If they wanted to continue breaking through, they would have to leave this place and go to a more fertile planet. It seems that the Divine Star Venerables on Scarlet Moon Planet are quite limited. Tianyun frowned. This was what Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing knew. He wasn't very clear about the actual details. After all, he knew that there were 5, but whether they were still there or not was another matter. That's for sure. It's difficult to break through to the Divine Star Venerables in the first place. In addition, Scarlet Moon Planet's resources are gradually deteriorating. It's normal for them to choose to leave Scarlet Moon Planet. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing nodded and said in a deep voice, "Based on the current situation, it's very likely that the Divine Star Venerables on Scarlet Moon Planet will be suppressed. Whether it's in terms of numbers or strength, they will surpass them. They had fought with the colossal beast race's Divine Star Venerables before and knew how strong they were. The difference in strength was relatively large. They had to go all out to resist the colossal beast race's attack. No matter what, we will still choose to go back. After all, Scarlet Moon Planet is our route." Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing sighed. They still planned to go back instead of continuing to hide on Desolate Dragon Planet. The elders of the other big families also nodded and also planned to return to Scarlet Moon Planet. If they didn't go back, they would regret it forever. "Very well, then I will also go with you," Tianyun suddenly said. What? You will also go with us? They were shocked and happy. They all thought that Tianyun wouldn't go to Scarlet Moon Planet. Who knew that he would go with them? They had all seen Tianyun's strength. If they could help, they would definitely be happy. Yes, that was my decision from the beginning. I just want everyone to be prepared, and those with weaker cultivations don't need to return to Scarlet Moon Planet. Tianyun said in a deep voice, after all, if Scarlet Moon Planet falls, it will definitely affect Desolate Dragon Planet. The two families are so close, it will definitely have a great impact. Therefore, I must go. Otherwise, Desolate Dragon Planet will not be peaceful either. Tianyun didn't want today's war to affect Desolate Dragon Planet again, so he planned to go to Scarlet Moon Planet. Chapter 2291. Naturally, they were very happy that Tianyun had taken the initiative to go over. With the help of such a powerhouse, even if they could not clean up the entire giant beast clan, they would at least have more power and hope. After making things clear, they quickly made preparations and began to rest and recuperate there. At the same time, Tianyun stretched out his hand and flicked his finger. The purple gold divine pavilion quickly disappeared. It was originally used for secluded cultivation. Now that the giant beast clan had been cleaned up, it naturally had to be taken back. Others found it inexplicable. It had suddenly appeared and disappeared, which made them feel very strange. After this battle, many people were seriously injured. Even though they knew that Red Moon Planet was very dangerous, they could only heal their injuries here before returning. Otherwise, if they went back covered in injuries, they would basically die. It would be better not to go back. The various divine star venerates also began to recover. This battle had consumed a shocking amount of energy. It was good enough that they could stay alive, let alone suffer casualties. As long as they were not completely wiped out, they would win. While Tianyun was checking the situation, the Heavenly Cloud Ancestral Land had suffered heavy losses and was immersed in sorrow. Many of his former divine generals had died in this battle. However, he was not sad. These were all things that could be done through some means. He could drag their souls back, and then resurrect them. This was a bit difficult, but at least it could be done. He did not need the help of the Death Clan. He could do it himself. Therefore, there was nothing to be sad about. He would definitely be able to resurrect them in the future. He had said this before. When his cultivation improved in the future, he would be able to resurrect them. As for getting the help of the Death Clan, this was really too difficult. If they were to be resurrected endlessly, it would be too harmful to them. After a period of rest, they all came to the side of the teleportation array. As expected, the teleportation array had been destroyed. It was not this side that had been destroyed, but the teleportation array on Red Moon Planet's side had been destroyed. This meant that a battle had begun on Red Moon Planet, and the city with the teleportation array had already fallen. The teleportation array has been destroyed. This time, we have to cross the void. Mei Qing Divine Star Venerate and the others frowned. This way, they would have to spend a lot of time on the road. They had to admit that it was really awkward to have only one teleportation array. Who would have thought that this would happen? It had always been peaceful, and no one would have thought that the giant beast race would appear. Hence, there were no extra teleportation formations. Tianyun looked around. A group of cultivators had worried looks on their faces. If they were to fly over, it would take a long time. Although their cultivation wasn't low, it would still take a long time to cross the void to Scarlet Moon Star. It would take at least a week or two to reach Scarlet Moon Star. A week or two was not a long time for cultivators. It could be said to be the blink of an eye. However, given the current emergency situation, it was an extremely slow process. Perhaps the Scarlet Moon Planet would have been razed to the ground by the time he reached there. If everyone trusts me, then enter this space. I'll bring everyone there by breaking through the void. Tianyun extended his hand and a spatial treasure appeared in his hand. He gestured for all the cultivators to enter. Many cultivators looked at each other. Generally speaking, entering someone else's space was equivalent to entering a cage, and no one would be willing to enter it. "All right, I'll go in first." Star Venerable Mei Qing took the lead and entered. He had already vowed to cooperate with Yi Tianyun, so he had no problem entering. When the others saw Star Venerable Mei Qing enter, they also followed. With someone taking the lead, they naturally followed. They were very curious about what method Yi Tianyun had used, but for now they could only trust Yi Tianyun. "Your wife is very beautiful and very capable. Do you mind if I become your second cultivation companion?" As Jing Xian was about to enter the space, she stared at Yi Tianyun with a burning gaze. Such a crude and straightforward confession was really frightening. "Thank you for your kindness, but I only want one cultivation companion in my life." Yi Tianyun smiled and refused. "Well, I will slowly make you change your mind." Jing Xian smiled at him. Such a bold confession, probably only Jing Xian could do it. After entering the space, Yi Tianyun felt as if his back was being pricked by needles. This gaze belonged to none other than his wife, Shi Shuyun. He turned his head and looked behind him. Shi Shuyun came up to him and said with a sweet smile, "You're really outstanding." Someone even came, and it's the talented Jing Xian Great Star Venerable. "You're really capable." "You're flattering me. If I wasn't outstanding, would you have chosen me?" Yi Tianyun laughed dryly. His wife was watching him from the side. Even if he wanted to do that, he wouldn't dare to act recklessly. Of course, he wasn't interested in Jing Xian. "You only know how to talk." Shi Shuyun glared at him, then said worriedly, "This time, you have to be careful when you go to Red Moon Planet. I know I can't dissuade you. I can only tell you to destroy the giant beasts and wait for your safe return." As she spoke, Shi Shuyun smiled, her eyes filled with tears. She had experienced this scene many times. She was worried every time, but she could only stay at home and wait for news. This time, they finally went to the battlefield together, but Yi Tianyun went to another battlefield. "Why are you crying? Don't worry. I'll definitely come back safely. In this world, there's basically no one who can kill me." Yi Tianyun smiled at her. "Wait for my return." He reached out his hand to wipe away her tears and smiled. Then he turned around and took a step forward. He disappeared and left this area completely. "You must come back." Shi Shuyun knew how dangerous it was, but she could only pray there. This time, they could finally stand on the front line. However, they really didn't want to participate in the battle on Red Moon Planet. "Next time, we'll definitely go one step further." Shi Shuyun was confident that they could participate in the next battle and perform even better. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tianyun was teleported to Red Moon Planet. It was convenient to teleport to Red Moon Planet with the teleportation God Stone. He didn't have to worry about the teleportation array being destroyed. When he first arrived at Crimson Moon Star, what greeted his eyes was a sea of fire. What was even more terrifying was that there were giant beasts everywhere. Primitive giant beasts madly rushed forward, and as long as it was a foreign race, they would tear it to pieces without hesitation. In addition to the giant beasts, there were also the evil spirit race and the green demon race. They were all killing crazily, turning the originally beautiful Red Moon Planet into the most terrifying battlefield. Even the sky above was shrouded in red. The battle had already begun, and Red Moon Planet was in a bitter battle. Chapter 2292. Roar. As soon as Yi Tianyun arrived at Red Moon Planet, giant beasts immediately pounced on him. As long as they were from a different race, they would immediately rush over and destroy them. Their huge bodies didn't even reach him. With a light flick, the giant beasts that pounced on him turned into a mist of blood that scattered everywhere. Immediately after, he waved his hand and released all the cultivators he had placed in the space. When they came out and saw the situation in front of them, they were immediately stunned. Apart from being shocked by the situation in front of them, they were even more shocked that Tianyun had really brought them over. They had successfully arrived at Red Moon Planet in a short period of time, which made them very curious about how Tianyun had done it. However, that wasn't the key now. The real key was to deal with the giant beasts. Oh my God, many areas have already fallen. My family! Let's go back and check on the situation of our family. Damn it, all of you giant beasts should die. They roared crazily and directly rushed back to the area where their families were located. Seeing this scene, their hearts were filled with worry. They didn't know what situation their families were in. However, under normal circumstances, their families had all kinds of protective arrays, so they shouldn't be breached in a short time. In an instant, they left one after another. Even Mei Qing Divine Star Venerate and the others flew back to the areas they were protecting. I'll go with you, Tianyun said to Jing Xian. Young Master Yi, are you willing to let me become your cultivation partner? Jing Xian's beautiful eyes flickered. The strong possessiveness in her eyes could really scare people. That's not what I meant. I just wanted to say that the giant beasts will definitely attack some of the more powerful families first. Maybe your family has been targeted, so if I go with you, we might encounter Divine Star Venerate level giant beasts, Tianyun quickly explained. Alright, thank you Tianyun Divine Star Venerate. Chu Hetong smiled awkwardly. This elder of his was really too bold. However, if the two of them really got together, he would really approve of it with both hands. He absolutely had no intention of rejecting it. Tianyun had the cultivation of a divine star venerable, and he was so young. He would be a fool if he refused even this. Now that Tianyun said that he wanted to go with them, he was even more grateful. If they really encountered a divine star venerable, they really wouldn't be able to deal with them easily. There's no need to stand on ceremony. I came here to eradicate the giant beast race in the first place. There's no time to lose. Let's head over now. Tianyun nodded, indicating for them to lead the way. At this moment, Chu Hedong took out a few jade tokens, but they were all shattered. As expected, I came here to send a message. Chu Hedong looked up. Scarlet Moon Planet had already been completely enveloped by the verbal compliance law. This was the Divine Star Venerable Rank's verbal compliance law. All messages were meaningless. Soon after, Chu Hetong brought Tianyun and rushed back to his clan with his fastest speed. Soon, after flying at high speed for a while, they finally arrived at the area where their family was located. The moment they arrived, they could see a huge city in the distance. It was being attacked by countless giant beasts in a frenzy. The thick barrier kept fluctuating, but it seemed like it hadn't been broken. However, if it was attacked by thousands of giant beasts, it probably wouldn't last for long. The huge city in front of them was actually the Chu clan. This was similar to the Tian clan. A so-called clan was basically the overlord of a region. The area they occupied was too large. They all had their own formations that could block all attack. Fortunately, there aren't any problems for now. When Chu Hetong and the others saw this, they heaved a sigh of relief. They were most afraid that when they returned, they would see that the Chu clan's barrier had already been broken. At that time, everything would really become chaotic. This group of beasts, come with me to clean them all up. Chu Hedong led them and started to sweep away the giant beasts surrounding the clan. Originally, the Chu clan had been sending people to fight back. However, there were too many of them, and they couldn't deal with them quickly. Now that they had returned, and they were all Grand Star Venerables, it would be much easier to deal with these giant beasts. However, among these giant beasts, most of them were Star Lords and Star Venerables. Occasionally, there would be a small number of Grand Star Venerables. They were all in the most primitive state. Not all giant beasts could evolve. They had to be selected first. If they wanted to evolve, they would have to pay a lot of resources. If they could evolve at will, then none of the giant beasts in front of them would be in the giant beast state. Looking around, He really didn't see any giant beasts in the cultivator state, which surprised him. It seemed like the ordinary giant beasts were the main attackers, and their numbers were also the highest. The elders are back. When the Chu clan saw Chu Hedong and the others coming out, they started shouting happily. They had finally waited for their elders to return. There were 7 or 8 Grand Star Venerables, which was equivalent to more than half of the Chu clan's powerhouses. Now that they had returned, they undoubtedly felt more confident. Tianyun didn't stay idle either. He had come to see if there were any Divine Star Venerables. He didn't see any Divine Star Venerables, but there were so many giant beasts, so he wouldn't let them go. Soon after, he turned into a beam of flowing light and swept over. The cultivation of a Divine Star Venerate could be said to be completely overwhelming. He swept through everything in his way. His eradicating speed was much faster than Chu Hedong and the others. They weren't on the same level at all. At this speed, it wouldn't be a problem at all to clean up the giant beasts in this area. This kind of situation really frightened the people of the Chu clan. If such a terrifying power could sweep through their experts, wouldn't it be as easy as drinking water? Even the Grand Star Venerables turned into a bloody mist in the blink of an eye. They died thoroughly. Where did this powerhouse come from? They were all stunned. Soon, with Tianyun's support, it was very easy for them to clean up. Most of the giant beasts were taken care of, and the remaining ones were left to the others to deal with. Chu Hedong and the others returned to the clan and heaved a sigh of relief. It wasn't easy to clean up a large group of giant beasts. Where's the clan leader? Why don't I see him? Chu Hedong had been back for a long time, but he hadn't seen the clan leader come out to fight. Even if he was in seclusion, he should have come out by now, right? The clan leader was seriously injured and has been unconscious. That person said hatefully. The clan leader was clearing up the giant beasts outside when a Divine Star Venerable cultivator suddenly charged over and attacked the clan leader. Fortunately, the clan leader resisted, or he would have died right away. A Divine Star Venerable cultivator? They frowned, feeling that something was wrong. Yes, a Divine Star Venerable cultivator. The strange thing is that the giant beasts didn't attack him. Those people were confused. Chapter 2293. After understanding the situation, Chu Hedong and the others roughly knew what was going on. It was indeed the giant beast clan that ambushed the clan leader. The most puzzling thing was that the Divine Star Venerable Giant Beast clan immediately left after the ambush, instead of continuing to attack the barrier and annihilating the Chu clan. Tianyun was a little puzzled about this. He didn't know why the other party chose to attack and not continue to attack. Chu Hedong and the others quickly arrived at the clan leader's residence. Tianyun also followed them to visit. As soon as he entered the room, he saw an old man sitting by the bed, healing a man's injuries. Energy slowly flowed into the man's body to heal his injuries. When Tianyun saw this person clearly, his eyes narrowed. He roughly knew why the Divine Star Venerable Giant Beast chose to leave. The old man in front of him was a Divine Star Venerable powerhouse. He didn't expect the Chu clan to have a Divine Star Venerable powerhouse. This wasn't surprising. Many of the top-ranked clans had Divine Star Venerables, but some were in seclusion, while others were out traveling. They didn't know the details. "Grandpa, how's Dad?" Jing Xian hurried over, her face filled with worry and anxiety. No wonder Jing Xian was such a genius. Not only was her father the clan leader, but her grandfather was also a Divine Star Venerable. "Xian, you're back." Chu Suifeng looked at her with a kind gaze and said with a faint smile, "Don't worry. With Grandpa here, your father will be fine." "It's good that he's fine, it's good that he's fine." Jing Xian looked at her father. Although his face was pale, his aura was relatively stable. With a Divine Star Venerable healing him, unless he was really dead, as long as he still had a breath left, he could be saved. After speaking, he seemed to sense the situation on Tianyun's side. When he raised his eyes and looked over, he revealed a bit of surprise. What a young divine star, venerable! He immediately sensed that Etienne's cultivation had reached the divine star venerable level. One's age might be concealed by one's appearance, but one's aura couldn't be concealed. He could sense that Etienne was very young, but he couldn't sense how young he was. Greetings, Star Sovereign Chu. Etienne cupped his hands in greeting. Chu Suifeng nodded and stood up. He sized him up and asked doubtfully, I wonder which faction you're from to be able to nurture such a young divine star, venerable? Grandpa. He is the owner of the unique star Dharma that appeared on planet Desolate Dragon a long time ago. Jing Xian explained. The owner of the Desolate Dragon star's unique star Dharma. Chu Suifeng looked surprised. He didn't think that Etienne would be that person. I can't believe that the Desolate Dragon star could have such a genius. What a surprise. I don't know why they are here. Did something happen on Wild Dragon Star? Chu Suifeng's face became serious. Grandpa, it's actually like this. After Jing Xian explained the situation of the Desolate Dragon star to Chu Suifeng, he nodded his head. The giant beast clan is really scheming. I didn't think that they would have such terrifying power when they made a comeback. Chu Suifeng thanked Etienne. Thank you, Heavenly Cloud Divine Star Venerable, for coming to help. Fortunately, I just came out of seclusion and sensed danger outside, so I rushed out immediately. If I had been one step later, Chu Liang wouldn't have been able to make it. The giant beast clan is too ruthless. They have extremely terrifying poison. I spent a lot of effort to remove the poison. Ordinary medicinal pellets don't have any effect. I have to force it out bit by bit. Chu Suifeng said in a low voice. I wanted to trap him, but he seemed to have sensed danger and ran away immediately. If he had been one step later, I would have definitely kept him here. Chu Suifeng's eyes became cold. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. His son was beaten up like that. How could he not be angry? If he had been one step later, he would have been dead. If it weren't for protecting his family, he would have chased after them. However, he was worried that they would lure him away, so he stayed here. More importantly, he had to treat Chu Liang's injuries. Etienne didn't doubt Chu Suifeng's words at all. Chu Suifeng's cultivation was not bad. He was a mid-stage divine star venerable. He was much stronger than the divine star venerables he had seen before. If the other party was an early-stage divine star venerable beast, then Chu Suifeng would have no problem keeping him here. So that's how it is. No wonder that divine star venerable beast turned around and ran. Now that Scarlet Moon Planet is getting more and more dangerous, I plan to go out and find the location of those divine star venerable beasts. Etienne didn't plan to stay here. With Chu Suifeng holding the fort here, he didn't have to worry about anything. Heavenly Cloud Divine Star Venerable, I'll go with you. Chu Suifeng stood up and said coldly, the situation here is temporarily fine. As long as it's not a Divine Star Venerable, we can deal with them. If a Divine Star Venerable comes, then I will kill my way back and trap them to death. Moreover, I have a general idea of where they will attack. Chu Suifeng's eyes were filled with killing intent. He hated the giant beast race to the extreme. Now that his son had been injured, he was even more furious. Divine Star Venerable Chu, you still know where they will attack? Etienne's eyes lit up. He didn't know how to find the giant beast race's Divine Star Venerable, but Chu Suifeng actually knew where they were. Yes, I've deduced a bit of the area. Chu Suifeng pinched his fingers and deduced the general situation. Etienne came to a sudden realization. No wonder Chu Suifeng knew. Turned out that he knew this kind of deduction technique. Jing Xian was so proficient in this type of technique. She probably learned it from Chu Suifeng. All right, then let's move together. Etienne nodded. It was definitely a good thing to have someone to help. At the same time, in another area, the Tian family had already fallen. They were being attacked by all kinds of giant beasts, and there were countless casualties. Tian Yuan and Tian Xinghuan were both helping out in the Tian family. Although they had chosen to leave the Tian family, they still chose to come back to help when the Tian family was in such a crisis. When Tianyun brought them back, they directly flew to the Tian family. The Tian family's situation was much worse than the Chu family's, and they fell very quickly. Now they were in a bitter battle. If they didn't have strong support, the Tian family would probably be finished. You two leave quickly. Tian Yueming quickly retreated to Tian Yuyuan's side after resisting a wave of beasts. We won't leave. If we leave, the Tian family will really be finished, Tian Xinghuan said in a deep voice. If you don't leave, then we'll really be finished. Tian Yueming looked at them and sighed. I'm already very grateful that you can still come to help the Tian family. I've let you down in the past, and I don't ask for your forgiveness. However, this is my stubbornness. Everything is for the Tian family. As long as the Tian family can prosper, I'm willing to sacrifice anything. Chapter 2294. The Tian family was in a crisis, but neither Tian Yuan nor Tian Xinghuan chose to leave. In the end, Tian Yueming chose to repent, but he did not regret it. This was his choice. In order to make the Tian family prosper, he can pay any price, including sacrificing his own child. As long as the Tian family can prosper, everything else doesn't matter. This was also the reason why Tian Yuyuan and the others were so disgusted. It seemed like they had done a lot for the Tian family, but this kind of behavior really made their children feel bitterly disappointed. They didn't have to sacrifice their own children to make their family flourish. Tian Yueming just wanted to show that he was willing to sacrifice everything for the Tian family. Sometimes they wished that their father could be a little more selfish. Regretfully, Tian Yueming didn't do so. Instead, he disappointed them time and again. In the end, they could only give up on the Tian family. Now that Tian Yueming was remorseful to them, if he was given another chance, he would still make the same choice. Perhaps he had no choice but to sit in this position. Whether it was him or the other elders, they all had the same thought. As long as the clan could continue to develop, they were willing to sacrifice anyone. This seemed to be very sacrificial, but it was the cruelest and most inhumane. It was easy to cultivate some cold and heartless people, which was quite disadvantageous to future development. Once they encountered any danger, they would be willing to sacrifice everything at any time. If that was the case, what sense of existence would such a family have? This meant that every time they went out on a mission, there was a possibility that they would be abandoned or sacrificed. Sacrifice was not scary. What was scary was not having that kind of recognition. Just like the heavenly cloud ancestral land, the management was not ruthless at all. Instead, it was very united. In terms of sacrifice and dedication, they truly surpassed all other forces. If he wanted them to put their lives on the line, they would do so immediately without any hesitation. The Tian family's policy is too absolute. It seems to be correct, but it has a dangerous trigger point. Today was the best proof. The two geniuses had chosen to leave. This kind of situation would happen again in the future, and the two of them would definitely not be exceptions. We won't leave. This is our route. When there is a crisis, we still need to protect the Tian family. Tian Xinghuan and the others chose to stay here and didn't leave. Sigh, only you guys would think this way. Tian Yueming burst into tears. The reason why the Tian family would fall so quickly was largely due to too many people choosing to escape from the Tian family. This is the problem of sense of belonging. They don't have much sense of belonging to the Tian family. Previously, he had been pressured by the elders to stay in the Tian family. Before they returned, this place was attacked by the giant beast race. This immediately made their hearts jump, and they all fled. This was also the reason why Tian Yueming was remorseful. However, he wouldn't regret it. Some people were just like that. They were just that stubborn. Since it had already happened, he would not regret it. Instead, his mentality would change. However, no matter how they change, the Tian family is about to be destroyed. It's useless to say anything. There's still hope. Continue to hold on. Tian Yuan and the others ignored Tian Yueming's dissuasion and continued to fend off the behemoths in their surroundings, killing the nearby behemoths in a frenzy. The giant beasts they faced were not divine star venerables, but just a group of great star venerables was enough to defeat them. Just as they were struggling to resist, two streaks of light suddenly flashed past. One of the figures was like a rake, ruthlessly plowing over, shattering a large group of giant beasts into a bloody mist. Seeing this aura, Tian Yuan exclaimed in surprise, "It's brother Tianyun." They clearly saw that the person rushing over was Tianyun. He was a powerful divine star venerate, and he was sweeping through this place. In the blink of an eye, all the great star venerate beasts were wiped out. Not a single one was left. The remaining behemoths were all low-level beasts. They were not much of a threat to the Tian family. "You'll have to rely on yourself for the rest." Tianyun nodded at Tian Yuan and quickly left with Chu Suifeng, leaving behind the dumbfounded Tian Yueming and the others. Tian Yueming knew that Tianyun had come to help deal with the giant beasts, mostly because of his relationship with Tian Yuan and the others. Sigh, looks like the Tian family is really going to change. Tian Yueming sighed deeply. It's not too late to change some things. Tianyun and Chu Suifeng were purely passing by. If they hadn't happened to pass by, Tianyun really wouldn't have planned on helping the Tian family deal with these giant beasts. He didn't have a good impression of the Tian family to begin with. He just happened to pass by and saw Tian Yuan and the others there, so he decided to help deal with the giant beasts. The two of them still have some feelings for the Tian family. Tianyun shook his head. There were many things that couldn't be thrown away just because they wanted to. It might seem like they were idiots, but sometimes they were just that idiotic. They might not have any dealings with the Tian family normally, but they would still come out to help at crucial times. Divine Star Venerate Chu, how far are we from that place? Tianyun asked. Chu Suifeng didn't think much of Tianyun's actions. After making some calculations, he said, "We're almost there. It's roughly in the area ahead. That should be where the Zhu family is." The Zhu family is a great family of Scarlet Moon planet. It's not surprising that the giant beasts would deal with them first. Zhu family. Tianyun had a strange expression. He hadn't expected it to be the Zhu family. However, he had killed so many geniuses of the Zhu family. What would the Zhu family think of him? What's wrong? Do you have some grudges with the Zhu family? Chu Suifeng noticed that Tianyun's expression wasn't right. There are some grudges. The Zhu family sent people to deal with me, but I wiped them all out, Tianyun said truthfully. No wonder. The Zhu family was blind. That old man from the Zhu family will probably make a move against you after he finds out. That old man is very stubborn. Even if there's a great enemy in front of him, he won't care. He will still choose to take revenge. Chu Suifeng frowned and said, "I didn't agree with the union of the two families in the first place. However, I delegated the power long ago. What those kids do is their own business." "Is that so? If they really come for revenge, I'll take them on." Tianyun didn't mind killing another divine star venerate. Killing one was killing two was also killing. Don't worry. I'll talk to him and settle this conflict. I have some relationship with that old man. Chu Suifeng smiled. Then, his expression quickly turned serious. He looked ahead and said, "We're almost there. I can feel that aura." "That's right," Tianyun looked from afar. Indeed, he saw a terrifying power explode in the sky in front of him. It was obvious that a great battle was taking place. It was at least a divine star venerate level battle. As expected, the Zhu family's divine star venerate was still in the Zhu family. Chapter 2295. Boom boom boom. There were violent fluctuations coming from the Zhu family. Tianyun and Chu Suifeng quickly approached the Zhu family. As they got closer and closer, they quickly saw the details of the situation there. The situation on the Zhu clan's side was still rather bad. The great clan protecting array had already been destroyed, and many giant beasts had begun to charge in, continuously overturning the houses, and even knocking away the cultivators of the Zhu clan. As for the Zhu family's god Candle Star Venerable, he was fighting against two god Beast Star Venerables alone. He didn't expect the Zhu family's Divine Star Venerable to be so powerful, able to fight one against two. This had a lot to do with Star Venerate Candle God's cultivation. He was a mid-stage Divine Star Venerate, so it was not strange for him to be able to deal with two early-stage Divine Star Venerate Almighty Beasts. However, from the looks of it, it wouldn't be able to last for long. The two Divine Star Venerables were still very strong. Although they could not take down Star Venerable's Candle God for the time being, they believed that if this continued, Star Venerable's Candle God would definitely be defeated. Even if he could not defeat Star Venerable Candle God, the Zhu family behind him would be doomed. For such a situation to occur, Tianyun had a certain degree of responsibility. After all, he had destroyed a large number of experts from the Zhu clan. Without the support of this group of experts, it was impossible for them to resist. If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame the Zhu clan for being blind and daring to attack Tianyun. The destruction of the Zhu clan had nothing to do with him. Tianyun couldn't just watch as his opponent killed him, could he? The Zhu family's situation isn't too good. Chu Suifeng looked over and said with a sharp gaze, Tianyun Divine Star Venerable, let's get ready to take action. I'll go help Divine Star Venerable Candle first. You guard the side. Once they escape, immediately intercept them. Chu Suifeng didn't let Tianyun go with him. It was the best choice for one person to help and the other to stand guard at the side. After all, Chu Suifeng wasn't confident that he and Star Venerable Candle God could stop the two giant beasts. Divine Star Venerables of the giant beast race, every single one he could kill counted. Hence, he definitely couldn't let them escape. Moreover, Tianyun's cultivation was a little low, so hiding at the side was the best choice. If their cultivation was the same as Chu Suifeng's, then they would definitely rush over to intercept him. Alright, I'll stand guard by the side. Tianyun didn't have any opinion on this. Anyway, he just had to take action. If he said that he could deal with them, he believed that Chu Suifeng wouldn't believe it. After formulating a simple plan, Tianyun hid at the side and Chu Suifeng attacked without hesitation. Star Venerable Candle God, let me help you. Chu Suifeng instantly arrived near the Divine Star Venerate. He opened his hand and released the power of the Divine Star Venerate. The surrounding space was enveloped by his power. An incomparably huge palm enveloped a large area, which was equivalent to locking down the direction of the Divine Star Venerate's escape. Alright. Star Venerable Candle God's eyes lit up. He was delighted to see that someone had come to help him. He could finally get rid of these two guys. Oh no, another Divine Star Venerable has come. Giant Beast Divine Star Venerable's face darkened. He looked at his companion and saw a hint of retreating in the other's eyes. Their cultivations were originally inferior to Chu Suifeng and the others. 2 against 1 was fine, but 2 against 2 they would definitely lose. The gap in cultivation was there, and it was not something that could be easily made up for. The two of them grabbed each other and immediately turned into a huge tornado, rushing out. This action shocked Chu Suifeng. He did not expect them to also know the body fusion martial art. After using the body fusion martial arts, their instantaneous explosive power was greatly increased. It was far stronger than a person using their own power to escape. Dong! The encirclement was forcibly broken, and they quickly escaped outside. Stop them! Star Venerable Candle God roared angrily. He threw the star venerable level treasure in his hand forward, and a giant hammer quickly became bigger. It was like a huge mountain, and it heavily hammered down on them. Layers of the void were smashed by this giant hammer, and it quickly pressed down on them. However, their strength was also not weak. Explosive whirlwind flash. Their body fusion martial arts once again erupted with stronger power, turning into an even more amazing tornado, and fleeing outside. They cooperated quite well. With this amazing speed, they easily escaped from the attack range of Star Venerable Candle God. Boom! The giant hammer heavily hit the ground, and a huge explosion spread in all directions. A large area of the ground caved in. Its power was amazing. However, it was meaningless. They had all escaped, and they could not even touch a corner of their clothes. They had been suppressing Star Venerable Candle God by relying on this body fusion martial art. Otherwise, if they had fought alone, they would not have been as strong as Star Venerable Candle God, and they would have been suppressed. Damn it! They escaped again. Star Venerable Candle God was quite annoyed. It was the same every time, and he could not hit them. Chu Suifeng did not slow down. He had been prepared for this. When they had just escaped, he threw a Star Venerable level treasure at the same time, the dark gold divine net. This was a treasure used to capture people, which was quite rare. The giant divine net shrouded them, and it immediately blocked their escape route. Chu Suifeng did not want to capture them, but to block their escape route. However, the two of them were not easy to deal with. With another burst of flashes, they quickly turned around and fled to the side. With a xiao sound, accompanied by a powerful explosion, they instantly escaped the encirclement of the divine net and burrowed into the ground. They could not escape above, but it did not mean that there was no escape route on the ground. Swish, they disappeared into the ground in an instant, and a deep pit appeared on the surface. This made the faces of Chu Suifeng and the others sink. They had not expected them to have such a trick up their sleeves. The divine star venerable body fusion technique of these two giant beasts was too amazing. They were so fast that they could not keep up with them for a while. The two of them were focused on speed. Their attack power might not be as strong as Chu Suifeng and the others, but their speed was definitely much faster than theirs. When they were about to chase after them, the two divine star venerable beasts that had drilled into the ground suddenly flew out. The two giant beasts flew backward and separated to the sides. Chu Suifeng and the others were shocked. When they took a closer look, they found that the two divine star venerable beasts were seriously injured. A large part of their chests had caved in. It was obvious that each of them had been beaten. I knew they would drill into the ground. A familiar figure rushed out from the ground. It was Tianyun. Star Venerable Candle God was very surprised. He had not expected there to be a divine star venerable hiding underground. After Tianyun rushed out quickly, he grabbed the head of one of the divine star venerable beasts and started to perform a super soul search. Since he had come here, he had to capture some divine star venerable beasts first and then search their memories. That way, he could immediately grasp the details of the situation. Chapter 2296. As Tianyun performed the Super Soul Search, he slapped the divine star venerable beast next to him, exploding it into a bloody mist with one slap. He didn't even give it a chance to turn around. How could he waste such a fat sheep? No matter what, it was 5 billion star energy points. He couldn't let it go to waste. If he killed a few more, he could easily raise his cultivation base to the mid-stage divine star venerable. After the soul search was completed, he crushed the divine star venerable beast's head with a cold expression. After the two divine giant beast star venerables were killed, everything became easier. Star Venerable Candle God swept through all the giant beasts that were attacking the Zhu family with ease. Everything became extremely easy. Great strength was useful in this place. He could easily crush everything. After dealing with all the beasts, Star Venerable Candle God breathed a sigh of relief. The Zhu family was finally safe. However, the Zhu family's losses this time were quite large. It was as if they had been plowed by a group of beasts. Many places had suffered heavy losses. Fortunately, at least they hadn't been completely wiped out. Thank you for your help, Star Venerable Chu. Also, this friend looks unfamiliar. Are you a new divine Star Venerable? Star Venerable Candle God looked Tianyun up and down, feeling quite surprised. They hadn't expected that the two divine Star Venerables would be intercepted by Tianyun. Although they hadn't seen Tianyun make a move, the two divine Star Venerables had been seriously injured. His strength was definitely not simple. This surprised Chu Suifeng. He hadn't expected Tianyun's strength to be so strong that he could predict when his opponent would drill into the ground. When he counterattacked, he could launch a surprise attack. Whether it was his prediction or strength, both exceeded Chu Suifeng's expectations. This made him re-evaluate Tianyun. He wasn't an ordinary divine Star Venerable. Ancestor, our Zhu family has suffered heavy losses. In addition, there is another area. Why is he here? A Zhu family disciple walked over and was about to report the situation to Star Venerable Candle God when he suddenly saw Tianyun there. He pointed at him in shock, his face full of horror. What's wrong with him? Star Venerable Candle God asked in confusion. Ancestor, he is the one who killed our elder. Although that Zhu clan disciple was terrified, he was no longer so terrified when he thought that the ancestor was beside him. What, you killed Zhu Xing and the others? Star Venerable Candle God's anger erupted in an instant, and his soaring killing intent enveloped Tianyun. He was ready to attack at any time. Tianyun looked calm. It was not unexpected for Star Venerable Candle God to show such an expression. Anyone would be angry when their own people were killed. I killed them. They wanted to kill me, so why can't I kill them? Tianyun was facing Star Venerable Candle God. He didn't mind fighting with him. He did not intend to save the Zhu family in the first place. If it were not for the fact that he had to deal with the giant beast clan, he would not have cared about the life and death of the Zhu family. God Candle Star Venerable, if what Heavenly Cloud Star Venerable said is true, then don't blame him. I won't attack unless I'm attacked. If they did this to me, I'd kill them without hesitation. The dignity of a divine Star Venerable is inviolable. Chu Suifeng chimed in from the side, representing that he was on the same side as Tianyun. It was not that he wanted to build a good relationship with Tianyun. He was just telling the truth. This Star Venerable Candle God's face was gloomy. He turned to look at that Zhu clan disciple and said angrily, Are you idiots? Why would you attack a divine Star Venerable? He suddenly remembered that if they had attacked Tianyun even though they knew he was a divine Star Venerable, they would have deserved to die. No. He was only a late-stage Star Venerable at that time, the Zhu clan disciple said. A late-stage Star Venerable could kill them all? Star Venerable Candle God's face changed. He looked at Tianyun with a gloomy expression. After all, so many elders on his side had died. How could he not be heartbroken? The great Star Venerables they had spent so much effort to nurture were all dead. If they wanted to nurture more in the future, they would have to pay even more. For this matter, our Zhu family admits defeat. If there's nothing else, please leave. We have a lot of things to do. Star Venerable Candle God immediately drove them away. He was rational. He was a little angry, but who asked them to provoke a divine Star Venerable? Most importantly, a late-stage Star Venerable had been killed instead. They could only say they were stupid. However, no matter how stupid they were still members of their clan. If it was any other time, they would have really started fighting. Now, both Tianyun and Chu Suifeng had helped him. If they had not helped him, the Zhu clan would have fallen. However, he could not take this lying down. He could not greet Tianyun with a smile, could he? He knew he could not do that. Even Tianyun could not do that, let alone him. Even if his subordinates were stupid and did something wrong, he could not thank the other party for killing them, right? Let's go, Divine Star Venerable Chu. Tianyun did not feel like staying there as a guest. He still had a lot of things to do. Chu Suifeng nodded. After saying goodbye to Divine Star Venerable Candle God, he left with Tianyun. Let me deduce the next area. Chu Suifeng started to calculate with his fingers, deducing the location of the Divine Star Venerable Beast. However, before he could deduce it, Tianyun said, "There's no need to deduce it. I know where they are and what their real purpose is." What? Chu Suifeng was surprised. Tianyun's news was really shocking. You even know their purpose? Yes, I just searched their souls. I got a little bit of their memories. Tianyun didn't finish his words. He got all the memories, even the childhood of the Divine Star Venerable. He knew it clearly. Your soul-searching ability is so powerful that you can even search the memories of the Divine Star Venerable Beasts? Chu Suifeng was dumbfounded. If he could search like that, he would have done it a long time ago. However, he could not find anything. More or less. It just so happens that I have mastered a technique. Tianyun did not say much about this. Instead, he shifted his gaze to the central area. They attacked Scarlet Moon Planet. In addition to obtaining resources, their other focus was to destroy the array eye of Scarlet Moon Planet. Destroy the array eye of Scarlet Moon Planet? Chu Suifeng frowned. He had never heard of such a thing. Yes, there is a huge array above Scarlet Moon Planet. It covers the entire planet. Once the array eye is destroyed, the biggest seal will be broken. Tianyun pointed to the ground and said in a deep voice, "Under Scarlet Moon Planet, there is a group of Divine Star Venerable Beasts sealed. Once they break the seal, the result is obvious." You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.